All right. Hey, everyone. Hope you guys are all having a wonderful day out there today. A lot of stuff to talk about here today. We got the tariff announcement happening in about 2 hours time, a little bit less than that. We got Bitcoin having a nice little pump here while altcoins are a little bit more iffy. We got the stock market also going up right now, but a lot of back and forth because everybody right now is placing their bets, so to speak, before we see Trump come out and give this whole announcement about the types of tariffs he's putting on Europe versus Canada versus Mexico versus China versus South Korea versus, Singapore versus Africa, all the little countries in Africa. So there's a lot of stuff going on here. And people are either going to be very happy after today or very, very pissed off, right? It's going to be either or. And because of those moving averages we've been talking about the last few days, you guys have already seen this pan out from today. There's just going to be so much more volatility, and that volatility is going to be freaking people out. But before we hop onto everything like that, today got a little treat for Loki, so you guys can see Loki before we start hopping in here. And before the treat, this stream was sponsored by BYDFi, so if you guys are looking for an exchange, they have a link down below. They're having a anniversary right now, so they're giving out some really big bonuses and prizes. So even if you guys only deposit like $100 and trade around, you guys can still win some good stuff, which is pretty nice. All right, so Loki's looking over here like, why am I talking so much? Here's the big boy. Oh, you should go, boy. Yeah, you should go, boy. Yes, 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 yes. He's so gentle. Well, now he's gentle. He wasn't always gentle. He used to be more like a velociraptor, if you will, right? So Loki's getting his treats. Loki, come here. Come here. Come here. He sees no treat in my hand. Oh, yes, you're a good boy. Well, I don't have anything. I haven't eaten yet today. Yes, you're a good boy. Yes, you're a good boy. Yeah, uh-huh. All right. I haven't eaten today, even though it's 11 o'clock my time, 11:20. But I do have a nice cup of coffee with almond milk, and I do have some water behind me as well. So I should be pretty good. And I got Loki over here in case I need some moral support for watching this freaking crazy market happen right now. So there we go. Coffee with no sugar still tastes funny to me, but you know what? I don't need more sugar. All right, so let's kick this off, everybody. And hey, Crypto, Renee, and hey, Crypto Ricky, happy to see you guys. Basically, just been trading this volatility. I have to be up in Seattle at 3:30 today. No. 4 o'clock today. Yeah, so that'd be fun. So just a lot of busyness going around. I'm working out something for me to do some podcasting up in Seattle, which I think will be pretty fun. I'm just trying to figure out the lay of the land for the podcasting world as far as that one specific space like I was talking to you guys about. So I'm going to go up there today. I joined that club back about the Columbia Tower Club, which is very, very nice, exclusive. I like it a lot. However, they have, like on the first Wednesday, they have a new member orientation. So I have to also go do that. So I'm going to be like busy till like 8 o'clock or something like that. But afterwards, I'm going to be making a video talking about everything I find out from this Trump announcement about the tariffs. So we'll be talking about that a little bit more as well. Let me do one thing here very fast. And that's actually, I can do that from here. There we go. All right. So I'm pretty happy with this, to be honest, right now, guys. Let me move it over a little bit here. I'm pretty happy. Last night, I was like, one or two things is going to happen. I think both are going to lead us upwards because of the momentum shift. And what did we talk about? Bouncing off the 200 moving average on the 4-hour chart, leading us upwards higher, or we're going to have more of a dip and rip. I told you guys I think it was going to be more of a dip and rip, and that was only because it was going to take too long between the pump we had over here and then the next 5 o'clock 4-hour candle we'd be looking at. This is the 5 o'clock a.m., 5 a.m. 4-hour candle. 5 a.m. 4-hour candle. 5 a.m. 4-hour candle. There's a lot of volatility during those 4-hour candles, whether it's good or bad, right? I'm assuming this is a 5-hour. No, this is a 1 hour. Oh, but that's Saturday. Let's see. Yeah, the Friday 5. Oh, yeah, Friday 5 a.m. candle was right here. Thursday 5 a.m. candle was right here. There was a lot of volatility. I don't know if you can see that swing from here all the way to here, but ultimately it kind of ended flat. So that 5 a.m. candle is definitely one of the crazier times to trade right now. It just depends on if you guys are up during that time. But what did we do? We hit resistance. So if you guys took any trades like day trading and stuff like that, you've already sold or you've already scaled at this point. And this happened before the announcement, which is very interesting. So I wanted to get a better idea of when exactly this announcement is going to be. And you guys can see here, if I zoom in a little bit more, it's at 1 p.m. Pacific time, all right? So for most of you guys, it's probably like 4 o'clock. So that's basically after the market's closed. So the stock market won't feel this until tomorrow. Sure, we'll have some after hours trading and things like that. But Bitcoin is where all the action is going to be. And it's going to be absolutely insane. So if you guys are day trader friendly, you guys are going to have a lot of fun in just a few hours here, which I think will be pretty good. We're still hearing leaks and things like that coming out as far as news. We'll talk about that in a few seconds here. But just looking at Bitcoin now, I do want to get rid of these little lines here because I just don't like the way they look, even though they were, accurate to a degree. That 4-hour chart's still good, but all of those moving averages, they freaking matter. And guess what? If you go to the daily chart, do you think we broke above a moving average? Yeah, we sure did. We broke above the 200 moving average right here. And you could see the volatility as part of that. Now, what's happening, obviously, is we're hitting that level of resistance. I put up a little line here yesterday, but I just thought it looked ugly. And I was saying, hey, be careful, because when we get to this level, we're not sure if we're going to actually break out or not. Right now, we still have to be able to break above that level of resistance and then that 50-day moving average if you guys want to have an opportunity for a breakout. And again, a breakout doesn't have to mean that Bitcoin goes like, whoa, and then whoa. More likely than not, it'll stop the downtrend that we've been seeing, and we'll enter into a sideways trend, and that sideways trend will then birth a really big move to the upside when we eventually have those rate cuts. But I think what this allows us to do is let Bitcoin breathe a little bit more, as far as letting people kind of get some Bitcoin because they've been too scared because it's been falling like a rock, right? Or they're saying, hey, let me finally buy some Ethereum. Let me finally buy some Solana. These have come down a lot more. Let me finally buy some Floki or something like that, which has been falling like a freaking rock. So I think it may actually be a little bit more beneficial for meme coins and those type of tokens. But again, we've been talking about some of these for a minute here, and let me go back over to the pointer. Right, we bounced off that first level of support, and so far it's been holding. We haven't broken out yet. We may. I'm anticipating if we do break out, it'd be sometime in this month, and that could push us back up here towards like 97 to 100,000 bucks. And I think all we're really hoping for there is perhaps the 20 to not go straight down and cause a death cross, but instead just go sideways like here, right? And then eventually we have a pop, and that pop happens in a fashion that keeps us from having those death crosses, right? Over here got close, big pump. And you remember, death crosses are usually terrible things, but if we have a pump right beforehand and it stops it, we're usually okay. Death cross, not a good thing. Death cross, not a good thing. Death cross is never good when it comes to weekly charts on Bitcoin, so let's not have one, right? That would be my big, oh my god, something bad is probably going to happen type of sign, so we're hoping that that doesn't occur. But until then, you know, momentum is coming back up slightly. Stochastic still pretty nasty. RSI is probably the best measurement right now. Not oversold, not overbought. We're kind of chilling right now, and I'm okay with chilling. As far as the rest of the market here is like the stock market and things like that, Dow Jones is still choppy, bouncing off of an order block ourselves. This has a bullish MACD, stochastic, RSI. RSI is bullish, and the stochastic seems to be bearish right now. NASDAQ is bullish, bearish, bearish, it looks like, and the SPY is bullish, bearish, bearish, perhaps. So, again, pretty choppy, but still close to support. We're trying to just see if all of these assets can have a small breakout, and that breakout just lead us into more sideways action. And then possibly by the end of this month, the earnings season that rolls around here for this quarter, maybe we have some good earnings, and those good earnings help us out overall. One of the things I believe I saw today actually was, why does it look like that? There you go. One of the things I saw today, I believe, was, thought it was, let me just go through here. Trump, Charlie Kirk, Rapid. Oh, that's funny. Hold on a second here. There we go. Just in, private companies added 155,000 jobs in March, more than expected. we're teetering along here. We're not in danger mode. We're just kind of like, what did I say? Fair, poor. You know, when they ask you, is the economy great? Is it good? Is it okay? Fair, poor. You know, we're kind of in that fair, poor section, but we're not in complete disaster. And the reason we're kind of in that fair, poor thing is not because the economy as a whole. It's just because of what's been happening with the prices, inflation, and things like that. But inflation's been coming down. The Fed thinks it'll go back up, and I'd have no reason to disagree with them. However, so far, inflation has been coming down during Trump's presidency so far. So that helps him out from a political standpoint, and that maybe gives the markets a little bit more of an okay, let's see what can happen here type of thing, because they've already got freaked out enough. All right, and here's the 15-minute chart, so you can already see the volatility here. Get ready for more volatility. It's not going to stop anytime soon. So just as a heads up there. Now, as far as everything else is concerned, if you go over to CNBC and you're looking for the top news of the day, is something missing from here? Oh yeah, that's what's missing right there. That's why everything felt kind of off. Yeah, there we go. Okay, that's why everything felt kind of off. Okay. We're going to be looking at this in a few seconds. Tesla shares rise and report Elon Musk could be leaving Doge post soon. There was a breaking story here just a second ago, and I'll pull it up here. But I think that's probably pretty good news for Tesla owners. Tesla's up almost 4% right now, which could be pretty good. This was the news here. Trump told cabinet. Oh, let me just do this because I know these articles a little bit wider than normal, right? So Trump told cabinet that Elon Musk will be leaving administration in coming months. Now, coming months, that's not really giving us an exact date, but that means that Doge will probably still end up being part of the government, but they're getting too much flack, way too much flack, and Trump wants to use that political capital for this big bill he's going to have coming out later on this year, where it goes over deregulation, tax cuts, immigration. I mean, like a whole host of different things. And we'll see how it goes. But man, is it going to be a wild time out there. Now, I'm just going to read this as I always do. You know, rate me 1 through 10 about how I do this. But President Donald Trump told cabinet members last week that billionaire Elon Musk will leave his administration role in the coming months, NBC News reported on Wednesday. A senior government official told NBC that Musk, whose Doge team is engaged in controversial effort to slash federal spending, would leave at the end of a 130-day stint as a special government employee. That specific designation, SGE, caps a person's workday per year at 130 days. Having started on January 20th, Musk's SGE cap will be reached at the end of May. There you go. Politico reported earlier Wednesday that Tesla CEO will soon be leaving the Trump administration. Oh, we already actually read that. Okay, yeah. White House Press Secretary Caroline Leavitt, in a tweet, called that report garbage. Elon Musk and President Trump have both publicly stated that Elon will depart from public service as a special government employee when his incredible work at Doge is complete, Leavitt tweeted. Trump on Monday told reporters, "I think he's been amazing, but I also think he's got a big company to run, and at some point he's going to be going back. He wants to, right? I'd keep him as long as I could keep him," the president said. And that makes sense. Tesla's been getting slammed for the most part here, slammed. But I do think this is big news here because people have been freaking out about this type of thing. If there's not as many jobs being cut because they've already cut like a lot of jobs and they cut them really freaking fast, and maybe that was the goals, you know, right? If you prolong all of this, people say like, oh my God, every month they're firing more and more people. But if you fire off like a couple 100,000 people in just like a month and a half or something, you know, people tend to forget in this modern world, like, oh yeah, he did fire some people. All right, back to my TikTok. It happens pretty darn fast, right? Now, let's go back over here very fast. Get rid of this normal news. There you go. And here are the live updates we have so far. Again, we still have about an hour and a half until we have this tariff announcement. I'll be doing something else that time. I have a phone call to do. But after that, what I'm going to do is I'm going to take all of the paperwork that I find online about this. And by that, I mean the White House is going to put out a statement, and they're going to put out some documents. I'm going to upload those documents on the ChatGPT, and then I'm going to have ChatGPT kind of spit out some notes and kind of highlights for me to kind of help me understand what's going on. And then later on tonight, I will record a video, then post it to you guys. Today's Wednesday, so I'll probably won't be able to live stream for a bit. I might try to live stream tonight, like at midnight or something, but that's going to be so late for most of you guys. That'll be 3 a.m. on the East Coast, right? So most of you guys will be asleep. But I might give it a try, just do a little bit of update, and then you guys in the morning, if you guys have time, you guys can rewatch that stream. That'd probably be for the best. But here are the updates that we have so far, okay? What you need to know so far, this is like all the stuff we knew yesterday, not the stuff we knew, the new stuff today. Excuse me. Jeez, I'm talking so fast. I need to be one of those podcasters that just is quiet, but I think the interesting thing about what I do is, there's nobody else here besides me, so if I'm not talking, there's just kind of a silence, which probably not the best. But oh man, coffee is good. All right, so Trump has hyped up the start of his reciprocal tariffs as America's Liberation Day, as his administration argues that its unprecedented embrace of protectionism will reshape the global trade landscape to benefit the United States. Number 2, the White House is calling for a new tariff rollout, Make America Wealthy Again. Major stock indexes, already rattled by tariff fears and other concerns, fell sharply when markets opened, though they pared some of those losses later Wednesday morning. And just so you can see what we're talking about here, this is the SPY, or this is the Dow Jones, and here's market sessions. I think market sessions may be broken. It hasn't worked for me for the last few days. Yeah, it hasn't been working the last few days. Well, basically, we opened up right here. You can see how we were down. We've gone back up. Now we're going more sideways here. But ultimately, we are making higher lows, which is a good sign here. The news will destroy us either way, right? All right. The reciprocal tariff plans are still largely unknown, but experts are already sounding alarms, right? There could be something bad. Alarm, alarm, alarm. There could be something bad. Alarm, alarm, alarm. Trump has previously announced tariffs on specific countries such as China, Canada, and Mexico, and specific industries including 25% duty on auto imports. Now, right, there's not really much going on. The Senate to vote on a resolution that would undo Trump's Canada tariffs. That's not really going to go anywhere because they need the majority. But that's it. I mean, there's not really much more news about this besides people talking about, hey, they're sharing their thoughts. They're sharing their thoughts about what they believe. And when a politician speaks, they're usually, having a pretty big bias here. So we'll have to wait a little bit. Oh, now it wants to work, just not on the Dow Jones. Yeah, just not on the Dow Jones. Does it work on the SPY? It only wants to work with crypto right now. That is interesting. Okay, well, that's fine. And you can see market open over here. Went down just a teeny bit. Oh, no, market opens right here. There we go. And boom. Why does it say New York time? Yeah, New York. Why is it? Oh, I see. Update. There we go. All right. That is a little better. Okay. So that's kind of the deal of what's happening with today's news. There's a few more little things I want to talk to you guys about, but they're not going to be as big, right? It seems like everybody is basically not ordering as much stuff, or they're ordering so much stuff to catch back up. But these tariffs are affecting the economy in one way or the other. We're going to see these ripple effects over the next few months. So there's going to be some outlying data, and that outlying data can be very good for the market, very good for Bitcoin, or it can be very bad depending on how it kind of looks. I think the market should be able to see through the lines and kind of see what was happening here. But just understand these next few months are probably going to be just as volatile as this month and last month because of how the economic data is going to be rolling in. And I would say so far, I think we've actually been looking okay here. So I'm not overly concerned. We're not going to read this story, but that was just kind of the gist of this article. And that's what I wanted to talk to you guys about here a little bit. As far as the market right now, Bitcoin's up about 1.5%. That's pretty nice. I didn't mean to click that. There we go. EOS is up 20%. Radium's up 10-11. DEXY is up 7. Hype is up 5, Kaya is up 5, Ondo's up 2, Solana's up 2, Bonk is up 2. There's a few movers. WorldCoin's down 5. There's still a lot of downward moves here as well here. So Pi is down 3.5%. I did see this article right here. Pi network nears all-time lows as supply pressure mounts. This is one of the issues they're going to have. Nobody really wants to buy it because they know everybody just wants to sell it. So I am curious to see how they're going to figure this out. They're going to have to really slow down the amount of people that can get their tokens out, I believe. I have not sold any of my tokens. I don't even know how to sell my tokens. So I'm just going to chill and hold it for a few more years and see. Maybe it'll be a nice retirement bet. Maybe it'll be a nice retirement thing in the future. But for now, I'm just letting it chill here. Now, as far as everything else when it comes to Watcher Guru and some of the news going out right there, Elon Musk will depart from public service when his work at Doge's complete. White House says there's no real timeline on that one, but there was a timeline on the CNBC article or the NBC article that was regurgitated by CNBC. Amazon in talks to buy TikTok. There's a lot of big moves happening, and whoever owns TikTok is going to be how would you even want to say that? It'll just be kind of a mess because they're going to try to change it when in fact, if you just leave TikTok alone, they have something great. But Amazon, if you go look at Amazon Prime, what they've done with like this, the UI of Amazon Prime is just horrible. Amazon Video, Prime Video, whatever you want to. Horrible, right? Canada willing to remove tariffs if U.S. does, Doug Ford says. Depends on what tariffs, though. Depends on what tariffs. Right, Mexican President Sheinbaum says she will not impose tit-for-tat tariffs on the United States. That's a good sign here because Donald Trump would freaking go tit-for-tat and fucking go crazy with it, which would be bad for everybody because the other countries would feel the pain real fast and certain segments of our economy would feel the pain. Like people like me, like trade for a living, or I do like consulting on crypto projects and things like that, more of a boring type of thing. None of this really affects me too much, to be honest. But let's say you're working at ma and pa shop, or you have your own business where you have to buy certain goods from across the ocean or something like that, or from another country. Oh my God, you're probably having a heart attack right now, and I have some empathy for that. But I mean, man, it's gonna be back and forth for a minute here. All right, so let me see if there's anything else over here because I think there was something on trending. Nintendo, Rusev, Mello, GameCube, no, Liberation Day. There we go. Of course, this is what the real world thinks. People are gonna love it. They're gonna hate it. So just get ready for this. Trump is holding some schlongs. It looks like right there. Canada hates Trump. There's a lot of new accounts of that. Something hates Trump. This hates Trump. EU hates Trump. Tariffs are a tax cut. Why is everyone waiting for Liberation Day? I like those outfits. Those outfits were great even back in the movie days. What's an actual Liberation Day would look like? Abolishing the Federal Reserve, abolishing the FBI, NSA, CIA, etc. Man, talk about getting rid of a lot of stuff right there. Trump claims it's Liberation Day. For my constituents back here on planet Earth, it will be the largest single day tax increase in American history. Right? Liberation Day better mean end to property taxes. What's right here? Oh, this is from Autism Capital. Okay, it's Liberation Monday. See, the market's actually doing great. I know that in the morning the market was down, but the market's doing fine right now. I would say sideways right now. Breaking: if you're not celebrating, here's a video to show you why you should be. No one lie detected. This is on TikTok. This video's gone viral. He basically just lays out the points that everybody's talked about as far as tariffs, but he has a more soothing voice, and he's in front of some buildings and stuff, so people like the talking of it. But we've all heard the same speech before. Countries agreeing to eliminate tariffs against the United States: Mexico, Canada, Israel, India. I'm not sure about Canada and Mexico. I know Israel for a fact. I know India has been lowering some stuff. I think they're probably just talking about not all tariffs, just some tariffs. And I think that's all Trump wants is he wants concessions in certain areas. And those certain areas are the ones that would allow America to have a certain manufacturing edge. Right? So that's kind of the goal for today. Y'all ready for Liberation Day? I mean, let's open this in a new tab. Yeah, I mean, yeah, there's a lot of stuff going on right now. Damn, so I forgot how orange he is. I know this is AI and everything. They made his skin so smooth. USA. What do you call? Little wings here. Little hat. From whatever that guy was that was there yesterday. Anything else? Trump kicks off sale of 2.3 billion Truth Social stake. Let's see. It's not even noon yet, and Mexico, Canada have been... Let me actually do some research on this, because I think this might be interesting. Before that, let me just say hi to you guys, because I haven't been talking to you guys much today. And hey, Ramon, happy to see my man. Hey, Mo, as always, happy to see you here as well. Watching the stream from the trading floor with Big Bank in New York City. Hey, man, that's awesome. And guys, yeah, if you guys can, please make sure to like the video. I'd appreciate that a lot. Every like, every comment does help out a little bit more as well. And hey, Bill Showtime, Villaret, happy to see both of you guys. Bill's Showtime. I don't know if that's about the football team, but what do you think about them and the tush push type of rule going on here? Trump's legacy will be based on the condition of the economy when he leaves office. I have to believe he knows what he's doing along with tariffs, Doge, etc. Well, I mean, you can clearly see a plan. It's whether or not he's able to like really push it forward though. Because his plan isn't so much about like the day-to-day workings of the American government like per se. It's more about getting the debt under control, and when we get the debt under control, that overarching like long-term panic won't be as bad, right? I don't think he's going to be able to fix the Social Security things and things like that, but I think everything else he'll have a good opportunity to do so. I don't know how we fix Social Security spending, Medicaid spending, Medicare spending. I really don't. It's just going to be too much of a chaos because whatever party touches it, it's going to be toxicity. So there's going to have to be a point where Democrats and Republicans can come together. And if you've seen any polling right now as far as what Democrats want, whether it be on CNN, MSNBC, Fox News, or whatever, they all have their little polls. Democrats want to fight right now. They don't want to compromise. So if there's going to be no compromise, I think it'd be a disaster for Republicans to try to fix Social Security on their own, fix blah, blah, blah on their own, because you remember what happened when Obama went into the healthcare system. He messed it up to a certain degree. I mean, some people got helped, but like things got really bad for other people with how expensive everything became. And ultimately, like when it came to the 2010 midterms, like his famous word was a shellacking. Like they got like just decimated, and part of that led to the coming of Donald Trump down the road because the costs were just going up over and over and over again. And then Trump was the one that came in and said, hey, these people suck. These people suck. Why not choose somebody else, aka me, right? And you know, all this stuff has consequences. So this may lead to some crazy turn of events where maybe we have a liberal version of Trump in like 5-7 years, because if this is a big if Democrats went straight, if Republicans went straight into trying to fix Social Security and stuff like that, and it didn't turn out the way they wanted to, it might be pure chaos. But he has 3 years or 4 years. He has time, you know, much time. And I'm happy to see you. And hey, Thomas, keep doing what you do. The West Coast needs you. There's not many of us on the West Coast as far as crypto guys online. Man. Why do I feel like Ethereum has been underperforming? Well, you know, I only really compare Ethereum to Solana and Bitcoin. That's pretty much it. Maybe ADA or something like that. But if I go over here, I open up this second chart that I have on my channel. We don't need the MACD for now. Let's just open up a weekly chart. Set it to auto with logarithmic on. You know, all-time highs for Bitcoin. Or higher, right? Solana, we got higher, but we're lower now. But we got higher. Ethereum never even really got higher than those all-time highs. And by the time we had a breakout, it wasn't even a good breakout. Look at that. I mean, the momentum was on our side, everything. But I think what happened here was, yeah, that's when Jerome Powell said, no more rate cuts. And it killed all the momentum. So it was just a timing issue there. I think that would have actually been the time to buy it and see for the rocket ship. But yeah, just to me, it's been underperforming. I mean, we're at the same price we were back over here in November of 2023, the same price we were back in April of 2023, the same price we were as August of 2022, the same price as we were back in February of 2021. Right? For Bitcoin, there is no price. Like this is the price we were back over here November of 2024. We're not back over here at 2021 prices, right? Solana is, right? 2021 prices. but Bitcoin is not. I'm more concerned about Ethereum right now because Ethereum just hasn't had that growth of going to all-time highs and things like that. I will say, as far as Ethereum is concerned, though, we're bouncing off a level of support right now. There's a few of them, I would say, but we're still in this bearish mode here, and that bearish mode usually isn't good. Well, this is actually the weekly chart. I should go to the daily chart to show off this. There you go. We're still in that bearish mode right here. So once everything kind of aligns here from the stochastic RSI, yada, 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 then I'll feel more confident in it. But right now, it's just underperforming, just straight up underperforming. And maybe even better yet, you go over here to, right, Bitcoin's only down about 2%, 0.75% in the last 30 days. Ethereum is down 13, XRP is down 14, Solana is down 13, right? I don't think it's necessarily like terrible, but it just hasn't really had the gains I was expecting. And again, I hold a lot of Ethereum. But it's just been like, damn, give me some time here, because I really want to make some money off of it, but it just hasn't really been performing all too well. And hey, Puma, happy to see my man. Kid Rock, that's it, Kid Rock. I'm in a short, so let's see if we can dump. I mean, there was a dump last night. That was one of the things we were talking about. It just didn't last too long. And again, that's because the weekly charts are bearish, the daily charts are bullish, and when next a bunch of moving averages, those whiplashes are going to go back and forth, back and forth, back and forth. Because I bet there's a lot of people right now that have a bunch of shorts going on and longs, and they basically just have stop losses and they're just waiting to see which one pretty much hits off here. And hey, Zachary, happy to see my man. I don't believe Trump is right, but by God, I sure hope he is, because I'd rather not deal with the fallout. I think the fallout really depends on how strong the U.S. economy is and what Jerome Powell does here. I don't think Jerome Powell will risk a recession for overinflation. I think he'd tolerate a little bit higher inflation, by that I mean like maybe 3 to 3.5%, if it meant keeping us out of a recession. Now that may kind of suck, but I think that's probably as bad as it may get if we get into like a stagflation phase. But let's see. More coffee here. Right, we're at 2.8 right now. Trading Economics says they're expecting 2.5. The consensus will come out in a couple weeks here, or a week or so. But if we go back to 2.5, we're back at August 2024 levels, and that's the type of level that got us to get the rate cuts in the first place. Now, I guess that because of these tariffs, a big thing will be what happens in, for April's numbers, I guess, because we're going to be getting March's numbers. So what happens in May when we get April's numbers? Or is it going to be a spike up to like 7% or something like that? I doubt it. But is it going to be an uptick? We'll have to wait and see. If it's still going down despite all the claims they've been making and all the freaking out they've been making, they've been having on TV, I'm going to feel like let down, because I was like, damn, you guys said inflation was going to freaking skyrocket off these tariffs. Because I believe what's going to happen is most of the costs will be passed down to the consumer only if the company has no other choice. I think the rest of the companies out there are going to eat the majority of the extra costs and say, hey, we're not as profitable, but that's because we don't want to we don't want to raise prices on our consumers, and we're willing to eat these prices, or eat these tariff prices increases, whatever, for a while, because we believe that these tariffs that Trump has put on are going to be temporary. It may be only a quarter, at most 2 quarters, and we can eat those costs if we're a large company, to make sure that our clientele is still happy with us. And I think that's probably what's going to happen. Now, if you're a mom and pop person, you're going to have a sign on your door saying, due to the Trump tariffs, prices have unfortunately been increased, and here are the new prices, or something like that. Right? I mean, that's just the way it's going to be. Back when there was an egg crisis, where I get some breakfast every now and again with a couple of friends, they put up a sign saying, hey, unfortunately, eggs have gone through the roof, so we're going to have to charge an extra $1 for eggs. I mean, it's wild, but that's just the way it is, right? And you understand it, you know. My thing is what I would explain to most people, and maybe I'll make a video about this. I don't think people need to be spending much money right now doing much of anything. Like if you want to go out, have a good time, go out, have a good time. But I don't think this is the time or the economy to be splurging with your money. If you're gonna buy something expensive, have a real reason for it. For instance, for me, I got the membership to the Columbia Tower Club. That cost me about $240 a month. That's probably inexpensive that I didn't really have to make, but I figured for business and networking and things like that, I could justify it. But there's also a cigar lounge where it's like a $500 initiation fee I wanted to get into and $100 a month. I couldn't justify that because I was just like, it's a cigar lounge. I mean, I have access to multiple cigar lounges around here, some of them are private as well, and I don't think I need to have that on my expense sheet basically every month. You know, that makes sense. I probably don't need it. So normally I'd be like, damn, let me get into this cigar club, let me get to that cigar club, let's do this, let's do that. But if I can't justify it right now because even my income is uncertain, maybe not the same uncertain as you guys, but it's just like, again, I like when the market has a clear direction it's going, and I like to trade during that time. And when it's not going in that like nice upward direction, that nice downward direction, I'm just like, okay, I'll sit in my hands a little bit. I'll do some trading, a little bit here with scalping, and then what I'll do is I'll do some what do you call that stuff? Consulting. Yeah, wow, I'm having a long day here. But yeah, but consulting isn't like, you know, main consulting. It's like cryptocurrency consulting. It's a little bit of a different type of vibe, right? And then I also go on my little vacations. But I haven't even gone on many vacations. Normally, I'd like to travel once a month. I'm going to Vegas this month. I'm going to Vegas next month. I'm going to try to go to the beach this month as well, and maybe the beach next month. But those are like 2-hour drives to the beach, so it's not like it's like crazy gas and stuff like that. So I try to be kind of nice about it. Did he already talk about tariffs yet? And hey, well, no. So his talk, I'm gonna be off by then because I have to do something else here. But I wanted to go live beforehand. The talk is coming at 1 p.m. Pacific time. 1 p.m. Pacific time. You can see my historical videos that I like to watch. But yeah, 32 people are waiting. Live, President Trump to unveil new tariffs on goods imported into the United States. We've heard a few different buzzwords and things like that, but I still think it's better just to wait for this. Basically, the way I describe it right now is once that comes out, the White House will give a press statement. They'll give out some forms and stuff like that. I'm going to take all that stuff. I'm going to upload it to ChatGPT, and I'm basically just going to say, hey, give me a summary of what's happening. Give me some key points, and then afterwards, I'm going to say, hey, give me every single tariff that was placed in every single country, and then I want them to like say, hey, for the EU, what tariffs were applied for what countries, what tariffs for Canada, what tariffs for Mexico, and list it all out for me. It's only temporary, but I am paying for ChatGPT, the $200 a month one, because I'm a freaking idiot. I'm paying for it, but I'm gonna just get it to list everything out. And then I want to say either at like around 12:30 at midnight tonight. No. Let's say Wednesday. I'll get back home around 10 o'clock, maybe 10:30. I'll probably just go live tomorrow morning with you guys and explain it all, bit by bit. Yeah, 'cause my friends wanted me to go smoke cigars tonight, but I'm just like, eh. Yeah, let's do it tomorrow. But I'll have all the work done, I guess. Maybe I don't know. Maybe it'll be a late night stream. You guys will see. You guys will see. Regardless, you guys will get all the news that the media is not telling you, because the media will just give you little tidbits, the highlights of like, oh my God, they're hitting the EU with this and this. I want to see every single freaking tariff coming out because I do think it's important, and we'll kind of see what industries are going to be affected by that more than more than others. And hey, Team Neutral Grooming, the American corporations are always looking out for the consumer. Oh, you're probably being sarcastic. Dude, I totally understand what you're saying, but they've done it plenty of times before. When they can see when their consumer is starting to get ticked off. They can definitely see that. I'm not saying it's going to be from the generosity of their heart or something like that. It's just more they don't want to piss off the consumer in that way because, again, there are alternatives for a lot of these products that are a little bit more expensive. Just like how people okay, you guys know I grew up pretty poor. I didn't get name brand cereal, right? We got the cheap one that was like over 50% off in those big ugly bags, but it tasted good. It did the trick, and it was much cheaper, and you got much more cereal for it. Now, I'm sure there was a downside to that cereal. Maybe there's some dangerous chemicals or something like that, but we paid for that over the big name brand cereals. And even if you see cereals nowadays, they're much smaller boxes, they're much thinner boxes. You're like, what the fuck? What the fuck is this, right? I just think corporations they're willing to eat the price for a little bit. Again, not forever. Eat the price for a little bit to make sure that they're doing okay and the consumer is okay, so the consumer will come back to them or stay with them, because you don't want to go on changing habits. And maybe I'm talking more about the grocery stores than anything else, but you don't want your consumer to get another habit while you're temporarily expensive, because once that habit sticks, they're just going to continue buying from that same retailer, going to that different store, right? There used to be a meat shop I used to go up to in Puyallup over here, a little bit away from my house, but Puyallup. They got expensive all of a sudden. I wasn't really sure why. I didn't bother to ask. I just been going there every now and again to get some meat. Then I was like, damn, this place is expensive. And my grandfather was like, you remember that shop we used to go to when you were a kid? And I was like, yeah, Stewart's. He says, go there. They're cheap. They're a little out of the way. It's like a half an hour drive to get there, but they got good meat. They got all the types of meat. They got kangaroo meat, for heaven's sakes. They got everything. Elk, everything. I went there. Damn, it's much cheaper, much more affordable. So I realized that, hey, I went there, right? So I started going there. I go back to that Puyallup meat shop one time, and their prices are a lot lower. And I asked, like, oh, what happened to your prices? They went down. It says, oh, yeah, they were like, some of the farms we were working with were having some issues, so we had some increased prices for a time, right? And I was like, oh, okay, that makes sense. But I didn't go back there afterwards. I already had that new place that I was going to, because that habit had changed. That's kind of where I'm thinking of. Remember, I used to be a marketing director. All of my thoughts are coming from marketing. You don't want to change the consumer's habits. But I would not put it above certain corporations to be like, oh, hell yeah, we can say that we're charging more only because of these tariffs, but when the tariffs are lifted, we're still going to keep the prices high. I can totally see some corporations doing that. I can definitely see that for sure. Trust me, there's no real difference in the food between the name brand and generic. That's how I personally feel. I mean, plus I think the names are much more fun. The only thing that I really enjoy better as far as like name brand and generic is going to be I haven't had it in like a freaking years, but Lucky Charms. The texture of the non-mushroom, not mushrooms, whatever those things are called, the charms, there's charms, and then there's like the regular cereal. The regular cereal is just a little bit more crisp with the name brand stuff. I don't know how to explain it, but that's the only thing. But personally, I'm old. I'm a big fan of Raisin Bran, like the generic Raisin Bran. I absolutely love it. Raisin Bran Crunch is very good, but Raisin Bran Crunch has a little bit too much of a sweet factor for me, so I don't like it as much anymore. But yeah, Raisin Bran, that's my jam. And hey, Baby Cafe or Soleil, Baby Soleil, happy to see my man, or happy to see. I don't know if you're a man or not. Name brands can just charge more for their chemicals. Exactly, that's a better way to say it. That's definitely a better way to say it here. But you know what? I don't even have cereal anymore. I have almond milk, but it's just for my smoothies, and that's about it. Smoothies and a little bit of coffee here. Keurig, or I can put like a little bit of a shot in here if I want to start up my espresso machine. I've been getting real lazy. I have that real nice espresso machine. It costs like over $1,000. I just am not using it as much because the cleanup is terrible. I need to just like do it when my cleaning lady's here. I'm like, hey, can you clean this also? Man, yeah, that'd be something funny. But also, I think right now for Americans, it's good if you don't have many expenses. Like, I have this house. I don't pay any expenses on this house except for like electricity and stuff like that. So no mortgage. My car, you guys know I've had my car forever. I'm very cheap or frugal when it comes to vehicles, so I only buy used cars when I need to at all, and I would pay for them in cash. So, um, I don't have an expense there. I just paid my tabs, but that wasn't too much. You know, I would say my largest expense is dining out and smoking cigars. I think that amounts to a couple $1,000 every month. That's my largest expense right there. Like for instance, I took my grandparents and my sister out while my sister was here for spring break. That dinner cost about like $400 something. So that's a good chunk right there. I bought a box of cigars. That was like $300 right there. So that's my largest expense with smoking cigars and going out with family. It's expensive. Oh man. And hey, Crypto Sneakers, happy to see you, my man. Big fan of Captain Crunch. Haven't eaten it for some years, but that was one of my favorites. So, fun thing here while we're kind of watching Bitcoin. Captain Crunch, I used to eat it. There was a specific Captain Crunch. It was called like chocolate donuts or something, where they had these little ring donuts. They were so hard that they literally scraped the top of my mouth. And I thought it was just like, I thought I just had like bad oral hygiene or something, so I started brushing my teeth even more. But every time I ate those specific things, I would just like have those micro scratches on the top of my mouth. Then lo and behold, a few years later, a Robot Chicken, on Adult Swim, they made a short like 15 to 30-second clip about those cereal pieces cutting up the top of somebody's mouth, and I was like, I wasn't crazy. It was those freaking Captain Crunch donut things. Actually, let me see if I can find them here, and then we're gonna go over here to something else because I want to show you guys some other news. I'm not spelling any of this right, but that's okay. There we go. Those bad boys. Yep. Used to cut my mouth. I wonder if anybody else says something. Let's see. That's just the best cereal that ever existed. It was delicious. It was very, very delicious. But nope, nobody's talking about it now. Oh yeah, 2002. Oh my god. Okay, well yeah, it's definitely been a minute there. Let me back up for a second here. I want to go to the 4-hour chart. Let's go back over here very fast. We're still hitting that order block. We're not really doing well. We might calm down for a little bit until we see that more of that news here with the tariffs. But that comes out in about 55 minutes or so. Actually, I think let me check my calendar. I have something to do, but I'm not entirely sure exactly what time it is. It could be 1, it could be 2. Calendar. So it starts at 2 o'clock. So I could probably chill with you guys until 1:40, 1:45 about. That should be enough time to get a gist of what Trump is saying. I think that should be okay. Then tomorrow I got something at 9 p.m. Saturday is somebody's birthday. Monday I'm in Vegas. And there's a meeting I gotta go to on Monday at the same time I should be flying. Oh, God. My flight leaves at 9:48, but the call is at 9 o'clock, which means I can talk from the airport, see? Good times, good times. All right, let's back out of here a little bit here. Let me just see. What's actually moving up today? Or down? Oh, EOS is up a little bit. EOS is up 21% today. Look at that. Here's the 15-minute chart, just so you guys have a little bit of an idea of what's happening here. There we go. Just talking about some freaking fast jumps. This is all happening at 6 o'clock at night, 8:45 at night, 8:15. This is happening, what, on Tokyo time? Asia's pumping this bad boy up, not America. America is turning into like the UK. Yeah, Tokyo's pumping this bad boy up. That is interesting. today's such a weird day to try to do this, but I would say like I would probably try to buy this right as the market. Like you can see when the Tokyo market opens up, we're always slow. So if you just put a stop loss around whatever that opening price is during the Tokyo time, you might see a nice pump here. And if it hits the stop loss, it's over. You're fine. You've lost like maybe 3-4% max. Probably with leverage, you're losing 3-4% max. Interesting. Over the last few days, it's gone from about 54 cents up to 83. Keep a look at this later on tonight. I wish I was available tonight to actually talk about this stuff, but I'll be in Seattle. This could be a fun one right here. This could be a fun one. Everything else, let's see. GTC is down 4%. Let's go to the weekly charts for this. I kind of want to see this. That is not all Tokyo time. Get out of here. Let's see. ICP. Oh, ICP. You had a chance. You had a chance. Spell token still coming down. Damn. I wasn't able to even break out back then. Pendle's up a little bit here today. So there's some highlights here. I mean, there's some optimism. Mudang. Oh God, Mudang isn't coming back. That sucker got fucking hit. Just nobody talks. It was a short-term meme. Spell coming down a little bit as well. Nothing really popping up besides that EOS one. ADA is doing fine. Up a little bit. Not as high as it once was, but hey, I'll take it over some of the other ones. How's oil been performing? Oh God, see, oil's going back up. That means the gas prices are going back up now. Of course, it tried to bounce off support. Dollar index coming down slowly, but oil. Ah, shit, oil. Here we go. Oil prices tick higher amid trade uncertainties and supply concerns. Crude oil futures gained 0.7% to settle at $71.7 per barrel on Wednesday, as traders based for the U.S. tariff announcement expect to increase market uncertainty and potential dampen crude demand. Investors largely dismissed a bearish U.S. crude inventory report that showed a 6.2 million barrel build, attributing the increase to a surge in Canadian imports ahead of potential tariffs. Okay, that makes sense. All right. Everybody's buying up oil before the tariffs come along, and that's pushing prices up. Yippee-ki-yay. My next 2 month in Germany is going to be a steak, eggs, and bacon. See, that sounds really good there. I bet Germany is not having a bird flu epidemic. I see a big liquidation on the 24-hour on Congress. On CoinGlass, 86,171. Do you think the market makers will grab the liquidity? Oh shit, it's hailing at my house, but I can still see the sun. That's interesting. Sorry. 86,171. I probably wouldn't assume so. I mean, right now, the issue with us is these moving averages are just causing pure chaos as far as the volatility, right? So we have the daily chart here. You can see, I mean, I've showed this to you guys before, so I'm not going to go too far into it. A lot of volatility when dealing with these moving averages. Even crossing above the moving average causes a lot of volatility, right? Volatility right here for that day. Volatility for these 3 days here, really. Volatility for that day. Big jump, big dump, big jump again, right? Big dump, volatility. We've seen a lot happen here. But right now we're still in the midst of all that. And the 4 hour here, we're also looking at the 20, 50, and 200 with that resistance right here. You can imagine us about to get squeezed by this resistance up here and these moving averages that are slowly going to be creeping up, right? Give it like a few days, but Bitcoin's either going to break out towards the $90,000 range, and it's going to be hard to do that, or we're going to come all the way back down here and start fucking around with the low 80s. I don't think there's a scenario in which a few days from now we're still in this zone, right? I think by the end of this week we are popping off or we are crashing and burning, and we're going to have more clarity around that. Now, that doesn't mean we're going to make new lows or anything or something crazy like, maybe coming back down to like 70,000, 60,000. But I mean, we could definitely retest these lows that we had back over here on 77,000. You know, I could definitely see that. Again, that's if we have a nasty turnover. But I wouldn't assume right now that anything is going to be willing to hold, because just how these moving averages cause extra volatility, we break through resistances like freaking crazy, and then we break through supports like crazy as well. We just have to see which way we're heading. So, for example, if I were to go over here, get off Flux Algo. Let me just actually go over here, turn it off. Let's get some SMAs on here. Moving average simple. 1, 2, 3. While I do this, I'll sip some coffee. So, the green is 20. The blue is 50, and this last one here, the yellow one, this is going to be a 200. So what we need to do here is, let's go daily. Daily. And how do I want to do this next? Moving average. Okay, 1, 2, 3 more. So we're gonna do another 20 here. This is gonna be, let's say, darker green. Yeah, that should work. This chart is gonna be the 4-hour chart. It's gonna be 50. I'm guessing this will still be the 4-hour chart style. We're gonna go with dark blue here and thick, and then we're gonna have like a orangey color, I guess, like a darker yellow, if that's possible, I guess. Yeah. And then let's go over here to the 200. There we go. All right. One, two, three, four. So we got the 20s, we got the 50s. Ah, there you go. This is, there you go. There we go. Okay. So you see all these moving averages on the daily chart and the weekly chart, or something, daily chart and 4-hour chart, all kind of like, whoa, what's all the frick is this? Right. Now you go over here to the 5-minute chart. Let's go over here so you can see a little different way. There you go. And you can see some of the volatility that happens in between some of these. Normally it's not going to be like, you know, crazy from this type of viewpoint. But if you think about how this day started way back over here, right as the market opens up, right, that's a $6,000 increase right here. Maybe it's better if I actually show up. What's that indicator called? Market. Yeah, there we go. Sessions, get out of there. Right, you time the Tokyo or the United States and you try to find out when they're going to come into contact with those moving averages, you can get a lot of volatility out of that, which is pretty nice. But let me see, Tokyo, United States. Let's see. Although I guess you can see a little bit of support from some of these too. It looks like it's a little bit off. I wonder if that's an EMA or something. Yeah, but when you see these types of moving averages, you know you have justification to trade for a little bit longer period of time, which I enjoy. Even with something like this, although you kind of have to look at some of the momentum and things like that. But if you got momentum going down or up based off of these charts, it usually works out pretty well for you. I guess for an example, this one would be 4-hour chart. We've known that the daily chart's been bullish for a second, so you can at least hold for about 20 to 24 hours, right? You have your first buy signal right there. Forget about the stochastic and RSI for a second, but right, you got your buy signal with that first moving average. You can choose to either buy there or wait for another breakout, because it technically didn't break out there. You can see a breakout happened right here. You see the moving average right there. See a lot. you can anticipate a breakout above that, which would be a nice chunk of change right there. And then from there, you can either sell or wait for another big move. For me, I typically sell before this, so I'd probably sell somewhere down here. But this is not like a normal way to trade. This is just looking at some of the moving averages and seeing what typically happens around them, and how during some you can have some really big moves. But I like these moments because day trading becomes much, much better, right? Even see the clusters over here, a lot more fun when it comes to these moving averages. There you go. Some drugs, there we go. And then back over here, fresh chart. Oh, let's go to 4-hour chart right here. There we go. All right. Do I like Rory, the crypto? I have not heard of Rory before, but if you explain it to me, I could probably check it out, but I don't know much about it at all. Can I write what type of indicators I'm using in the charts, Luxago, SME? Oh, so, I mean, I'm doing Smart Money Concepts, the free one from Luxago. I also have the, well, actually, no, this one is actually the paid one from Luxago. The free one is, if you guys aren't consistently profitable as investors, stick with the free Smart Money Concepts one. If you guys are making profits, price action concepts will help you even more. Then you can pay for Luxago. I don't think you, I mean, I work with them. They're great, but like I'm more of a trader's guy, right? You don't need it until you're profitable, I would say, the paid version. Although it can put you over the edge in some circumstances, but by then you'd been practicing for a hot minute if I to become a good trader, right? So, but I'm using price action concepts. There's also Smart Money Concepts. I have it like literally right here. That's, you can see it's pretty much the same. I just have a couple settings set differently. So it'd be Smart Money Concepts. It would be the 20, 50, and 200 moving averages, SMAs, and then it'd be basically trend lines and support, like regular stuff you can use off TradingView. Then it'd be a stochastic, RSI, and MACD, and the stochastic just has personalized settings because I don't like your typical stochastic settings. If you want to see a tutorial on how to use all of that type of stuff together, just go over to YouTube and just type in Smart Money Concepts Lux Algo, and yeah, my video is actually trending right here. How to trade Smart Money Concepts Lux Algo Full 2025. I made this a couple months ago, 2 months ago, and it should work out pretty well. Or you can just type in the same thing on YouTube. Oops, I didn't even type in YouTube right. Oh damn, it has me zoomed in a lot. I think I'm second. No, Luxago's second now. I'm right here, right? There are different versions. So Luxago and Tom, they have different editing styles than me. If I can just, will it not let me? Oh, I forgot, I'm not in mine. It's gonna have ads and stuff. Oh, there we go. See, it's more zooming in and effect type stuff. Mine is not so animation like. It's more of, hey, my name is Michael. Today I'm going to be explaining how to use the Smart Money Concepts indicator step by step and explaining what every little button on this thing does. I have ADHD. I trust that. I do tutorials based on like, hey, that guy may have a specific question about this. I want them to leave with as few questions as possible, right? See, they both have an animation style because it gets more views. Mine is definitely going to be much more of, hey, I'm boring, but here's how to do all this stuff, and this is actually how you make money, right? But I've been making these videos for me. I got that video, I got that video, I got that video. This one has like 300,000 views. That's it, I think, up here right now. I used to have more up here, I think, but since I haven't been making as many, I think they go down over time. There's a lot of Smart Money Concept videos, though. Here's Luxago. They have one. Oh, that's price action, though. But yeah, I have a bunch of tutorials. I mean, if you go over to my channel, I think my tutorials probably get the most views out of everything. I'll be making more of them here, I think, over time, but I don't want to just make stuff up for you guys. I have to like really find a strategy that works, and most of the stuff you guys care about is Smart Money Concepts, I think, so that's fine. There we go. Oh, that's why. That's why everything is so off. Let's go to 32. Make the numbers a little better. There we go. the one thing I hate about TradingView is that like right now this setting is like to whatever I just set it to just now, 32. Yeah, 32 text size for the numbers you see on the side. That makes it look incredibly large on my phone. You're not going to have a separate size for your phone and a separate size for the computer. If I change it for my phone to make it smaller so I can see everything on my phone, then it changes it here when I get back to it, which is absolutely nuts. Anyhow, Debbie, happy to see my man. Things are working out pretty nice in the Northwest. I'm basically just waiting for my new computer to come around so I can like stream a lot more. My computer busted up earlier today, so I'm like really happy it's still doing okay right now. Knock on wood, I guess. But if I knocked on my desk, there's a chance my computer could break. So still working on all that. Yeah, I'm just waiting for that new computer. It's gonna be great. It's basically this. There's a few different things I guess I paid for on top of it, but at its core, it'll look like this, right? Which I think is a good look. I kind of like this type of aesthetic over the normal black ones I get. It has the AMD Ryzen 9 9953 X3D. It has the 5080. They have the 5090 is out of stock. I got the 96 gigabytes of RAM. I got the extra 4 terabytes. I got the Kraken Elite, plus this, plus some other stuff because it's a custom order, plus like the build fee and things like that. But yeah, it was a little bit under $5,000, so I'm excited for it. There's going to be some power behind that sucker. It's just that, like they said here, due to low supply, an abnormal amount of GPUs may not be available. So it may take around 3 to 4 weeks, maybe even longer for me to get it. That being said, I'm super excited because once I get it, oh god, it's going to be game on. I'm going to be gaming with you guys. I'll be doing everything with you guys. Hold on a second here. Loki. Oh yeah, shush, a good boy. Oh yes, you're a good boy. Yes. I smell like coffee. I do not smell good to you. I know that I don't. Can him come up? He wants to find a Tory to come up. Come on. Oh, yes. He's so short-term when he wants to play. I think because he's going from the side of the chair, not the front of the chair. But another little dose of Loki as I scratch his butt from the side. Yep. He needs to get vacuum groomed. I think I'm going to probably do that tomorrow when I have some more free time. Then I got to put on some more anti-flea and tick medication. Yeah, he's wagging his tail over here, getting his butt scratched up. Yeah, no worries, baby. Cell, happy to see you, or happy to help out. Let's see. And hey, Alir, just joined. Your thoughts on the announcement, bullish or bearish? So the announcement comes out in about 35 minutes here. It'll be on CNBC. 32 people are waiting. I bet if I refresh, it'll be more than 32, I guess. Yeah, 109 people waiting. But it's basically going to happen at 1 p.m. It may happen at 1:10, 1:20 if they take a little bit of extra time, which they typically do, but we'll be able to listen to that all together. Once it goes live, I'll take off the music I have playing from my own headset, and I'll plug this in here. Right now, I just have Apple Music literally playing because, right? Apple Music playing. Although this music playlist that it has is kind of wild. It's like, it says my favorites mix, but I let friends use my phone as well when we're driving, so it's like not just my music, it's like friends' music and stuff. So I'm like, damn, I don't like that song, but this song it's not something I haven't heard for a minute, right? Hoping to hear Trump say all of the tariff money going to buy Bitcoin for strategic reserve. that would be that would be interesting right there. There we go. I'll have this playing. It starts in 33 minutes and 50 seconds, and then when I start to hear something coming out of this, I'll go. But I mean, there's a bunch of stuff going on today. I mean, like you can see CNBC an hour ago. What's the actual revenue of tariff? CNBC Steve Leisman. Actually, let me do this. Let me pause my music temporarily. Let's go over here. Let's put on YouTube. There we go. Is this the right size? See, I don't know what's going on lately with this stuff. I feel like it keeps on changing. Oh, no, it's because this is zoomed in at 175%. There we go. So you can see how much is actually really cut off when I do all this stuff. Let's go right here.
Back with the expected tariffs this afternoon, the Trump administration is banking on hundreds of billions of dollars in new revenue. Our senior economics reporter Steve Leisman reports, well, Steve, how do they get to hundreds of billions, and could it end up being less than expected?
Maybe not the right way, according to some economists. Peter Navarro, the president's trade counselor, says tariffs could bring in $600 billion a year.
I'm not saying it's possible to bring in $600 billion a year, but if it is bringing in money that we can use to pay down the debt, I think that'd be a great thing. But how much, I really don't know.
Nonpartisan Tax Foundation says it could be half of that. Here's what economists say cuts into tariffs. Tariffs decline because you're taxing it, so there's actually a decline in imports. You have lower returns to capital and to labor, and then you also have potentially lower GDP. Well, that's what a lot of people have marked in. Erica York from the Tax Foundation says that $600 billion estimate from the administration, which assumes a 20% tax on all imports, could be more like $300 billion when all is said and done. That's even before the effects of retaliation, and it's all because of basic economics. York said the White House tariff revenue numbers are not realistic. They missed that imports would fall and that tariff payments would shrink the income and payroll taxes bases, both of which significantly reduce the expected revenue tariffs will yield. Already, several forecasts have downgraded GDP.
Part of me wonders, and I understand what you're saying, part of me wonders if the growth they expect out of this will like offset. So basically, imagine this. They're going to be cutting taxes on corporations here, or individuals most likely, or just extending the Trump tax cuts, plus some other extra tax cuts, plus some deregulation, which should help them make more money. Then, part of the extra money is, of course, going to have to deal with tariffs if they're international, right? But overall, there should be a net plus in revenue coming into the United States because of this. My only issue is everybody and their mom, and I think rightly so, has been talking about these tariffs as a negotiating tactic. What happens if we have all these cuts and deregulation, which in theory the cuts bring in less revenue, but the growth may outpace the lost tax revenue from those lower taxes. So I'm going at knots, I know. But what exactly will happen there? Because the revenue may only be short term, because these tariffs aren't supposed to last forever. They're supposed to be a negotiating tactic. That's my, it could be something like $600 billion a year. But are these tariffs going to be up for that long? I don't know.
Because of those tariffs, and Goldman says it could be a 0.4% hit to GDP, and wrote this week, quote, the fiscal package is unlikely to offset the GDP hit from tariffs. That's sort of the way to feel like the market is trading. The White House has said the tariffs are tax cuts, but because they are believed to be mostly paid by U.S. businesses and consumers, economists treat them and score them like tax hikes. And this could be one of the largest tax hikes since at least 1942.
Which goes into the question of what is the revenue, whatever it is, going to be used for. So if it's used to bring down our income taxes or something like that, then you can see how people are making the link from one to the other. But of course, anything that increases the price level acts as a tax. So I guess one of these questions, what is the revenue going to be used for? Because I think right now there's a lot of...
I'm hoping to pay down debt. I'm hoping. But we'll have to see. Again, this is where we just talked about the other things as far as tax cuts, deregulation, things like that. I'm not entirely sure yet, but I think today we may have more of an answer.
Things on that wish list.
You're asking me that question?
I
have no idea.
I want to know.
But it is interesting to think of it as a tax cut, the way the administration has put it, which would essentially say that some people who pay no income tax now would now be paying a tariff or an import or an excise tax.
True.
And we haven't talked a lot about the regressive nature of this tax, which is worth pointing out. It's much harder on poor people from a couple different ways. First of all, poor people are more likely to buy the cheaper imported product. Wealthier people can afford an American-made product, but also because it's a larger percentage of their income that they'll end up paying, and there's no rebate essentially.
Well, and the reason why, I mean, I care for multiple reasons, but also because this is all going to come back to the deficit in some way, shape, or form. Especially, I don't know if Musk is going to end up leaving his
tariffs, right? Deficit. That's the important thing here. Oh, it's sunshiny outside today. Now they're going to be talking about Elon Musk. Apparently, he is going to be leaving. That sounds like he is going to be leaving here.
His post in the next few months or not, but it's clear that the political headwinds the GOP faces could keep them from doing as much spending cuts as they want on some of the major entitlement programs.
This could help.
Doge, I mean, it's on the margin. It's not one of the big movers. tariff revenue, well, if it's being used to bring down taxes elsewhere, is not going to help solve a deficit. So I'm curious where those funds are going to be
There's a big question, by the way. It's a procedural question as to whether or not tariff revenue can be used in reconciliation.
And I believe it cannot.
I've heard not,
yeah.
Except if they want to change the rules, in which case they might be able to, because it's Congress and
Congress. You can't do it. Oh, we're just going to vote to make it be the way we want to. I'm okay with that, actually. If it goes down to paying the debt, I hope it goes down to paying the debt.
It can actually make up its own rules. It's one of the features of our Constitution.
If it's bipartisan and they don't have to do reconciliation, if they end up pushing for maybe some tax hikes on the higher end, then they can maybe count some of that tariff revenue.
But let me go back to emphasize the point of the story, which is that it's a really hard thing to count on, right? Which is that you tax it, you reduce the essentially the imports upon which it's based. So how do you do it? Now, this...
Okay, just because we do tariffs, they're still going to be selling their stuff over here because they have no other choice. Now, they may have to renegotiate things like that for sure, but they still want to have access to our markets. And American markets are the place to sell because we love to buy shit over here. It's what we do. I just got a tweet rollover notification from Charlie Kirk. I just want to see it here. There it is. So, breaking... President Trump has told Senate deficit hawks that he will publicly support their efforts to massively reduce the deficit. Trump is also asking for a rescissions package, which would allow Congress to claw back spending with only a simple majority vote. We must balance the budget. It's not optional. It's necessary. Thank you, Mr. President. Okay, so maybe this is kind of a heads up. Hey, maybe we are going to have more focus on the deficit. We will have to see. We're going to have to see. Fun fact here as well. Fidelity launches crypto retirement plan for U.S. adults. I absolutely freaking love this. A tax advantage way to invest directly in crypto. It's really cool. If you guys don't have an account and you're younger, I might consider opening one up. They are not a sponsor of this channel, but things like this I absolutely love because you get the tax benefits of it. And perhaps there's a way to stake it and get interest on it as well if they're doing other stuff. And Fidelity will be able to have you be insured. I'll have to double check that, but interesting news from there. Now, let's go back to CNBC very fast. Let's go over here. And again, we have get rid of that. Get rid of that. Get rid of that. Live. Go over here. 193 people waiting right now. 25 minutes left. We'll see what happens there. But there was another video. Let's see. It was at... No, it was not... Hold on a second here, guys. It was not this one. There it is. So this is Mohammed El-Arian. This guy was very, very smart. I like him a lot. He has my trust. He's been wrong about some stuff, right about most stuff. I like him a lot. And he was one of the few people that called out Jerome Powell back in the day for saying, hey, these tariffs are not transitory. They're going to be stuck for a while. And I followed him on that advice. And I sold some assets, and it ended up working out very well. If you guys remember back in 2022, we were selling off different things that we had bought during COVID together. And then Bitcoin, we were just like, okay, we're going into a crypto little winter here because of how bad everything is. And we had banks crashing, all that type of stuff. He was a big reason for that. And the death cross and stuff like that as far as crypto technicals and things like that. But here we go, guys. This is another good guy. Let's listen to what he has to say here. We're kind of just waiting until 1 o'clock until we have that announcement. Yeah, 4 p.m. Eastern time, 1 o'clock Pacific time. So it's coming up fairly soon.
Have you ever seen sentiment this bad outside of a recession?
I have not. I worry about the soft data becoming market reality, becoming hard data reality. And I think that's the path we're on right now. And it's a path that has a strong whiff of stagflation.
Which raises the question, at what point can you feel like that worst case scenario isn't what's going to come to pass? What could happen that could make you think, actually, this is a rewiring of the global order akin to Thatcher or Reagan?
So think of what has happened in the last 2 months. In the last 2 months, we've gone from U.S. economic exceptionalism to stagflation.
Stagflation is terrible because it means the economy's slowing down, but basically the Fed can't do much about it to stimulate the economy without risking increasing inflation, which would, of course, mean that he has to increase rates down the road, which would, of course, just lead to a spiraling of uncertainty, people freaking out, things like that. And then the government has to come in with a big stimulus package, which, of course, gives money to the very wealthy, not the people at the bottom, and everybody gets mad, and politics gets even more wild. just keep that in mind here. But again, he makes a couple good points.
We've gone from Germany is stuck in a low-level equilibrium to Germany's Sputnik moment. We've gone from this is going to be a one-round rewiring of the global economy to this is going to be a multi-round rewiring. We've gone from the U.S. outperforming to the U.S. underperforming European equity by 17 percentage points. We've gone from a bond market that was worried about the vigilantes to a bond market that's torn between low growth and high inflation. This has been an incredible transformation. Consensus is we're in an uncertain period. Where I think is a really important point is where is this leading to? And as you said, there's two possibilities. One, I call it the Thatcher-Reagan, where we go through disturbances, we rewire the economies, and we come out with a streamlined government, better their dynamics, and an able private sector with major innovations coming up that can change productivity and a fairer trading system. That's option A.
Now, that's what Trump is trying to do right there. Option A. You've seen him try to streamline government. He's going to get rid of regulations. And again, if you guys, I'm going to be going all over the place here, and I apologize for that, but I think it's kind of just a nice little lesson for you guys. I know most of you guys are going to be more of a conservative bent. Some of you guys are liberal here. There is Jon Stewart. He's a very liberal guy. We got a few losing debate. No, this wasn't the debate one. It was the Jon Stewart podcast one. Let's see. This one right here. See, I listened to this thing for over an hour and a half. There's this podcast called the Weekly Show with Jon Stewart, and he has a podcast here basically. I like listening to these, and you can see I listen to a lot of them. Very liberal guy. He has very liberal hosts on, but I like to kind of just hear the other viewpoints because I myself kind of lean a little bit more to the right. This guy right here, he basically is a reporter that deals with bureaucracy, which is like a crazy thing to think about. But he would basically just spend like 2 hours or about an hour talking about all the different regulations and things that have to happen for you to get money from the government to make a road, build broadband in the United States, that type of stuff, right? And how difficult it is and how many companies drop out at each stage because they just can't keep up with the crazy amount of regulation that's needed. I think what Trump is doing right now is he knows he's going to be getting rid of all that regulation, like a lot of regulation. So he's firing a lot of the people that would be in charge of monitoring that regulation or reading the reports that get sent back and things like that. So I encourage you, like, if you guys don't like Jon Stewart, completely understand. He can be kind of wish-washy sometimes, and he kind of has blinders on when it comes to like liberal topics, and I get it. We all kind of have those same blinders on. But why we can't have nice things with Urza Klein? Probably the best podcast I've seen of his to date. Sometimes I watch the whole thing. Sometimes if the guest is like really just out of the world, I just like don't listen to them. But this guy right here, very knowledgeable about what's going on here. He's a liberal as well, so you're going to have that tent, I know. But the regulations and how everything works, Jon Stewart was flabbergasted by it. And I'm like, exactly, that's the issue here. That's why Trump is trying to do this plan A. Now, plan B, of course, it's not going to be as good, but we'll have to see how this works out. Jon Stewart's hilarious? Yeah, exactly, right? I just like the way he kind of views the world and how he asks the questions and how he's willing to listen. A lot of people, like, I can't watch The View because those women freak me the freak out. All right, but option B.
Option B is Jimmy Carter on steroids, meaning a stagflation that gets embedded in the system that paralyzes policymakers, and it takes a major slowdown in order for the policy stance to respond. I think it's 50-50. The market sees it as 80-20. And that's what we've got to figure out.
Wait, hold on a second. You think that the market is pricing in an 80% chance of the Reagan-Thatcher situation, of the best-case scenario, and only a 20% chance at the same time that you do see this huge spread in performance between the U.S. and Germany. You do see such incredible entrenched pessimism in both consumers and corporate executives.
Market prices, if you look, what's happened to credit spreads, they've hardly moved. If you see equity, we're back to November levels. We haven't had it dramatic. What we have priced in is the uncertainty of the journey. What we haven't priced in is what I think is a 50-50 destination. That is what's going to sort itself out over the next few weeks and months. And I worry when I hear the Fed, when I hear Chair Powell at his last press conference dismiss the soft data as, oh, soft data, it's not going to get translated into anything worse. Bring in again the word transitory on tariffs. You've spent the whole morning saying the right thing. We don't know how other countries are going to respond. If you hear carefully what the president has been saying about tariffs, and you ask the question, how does he meet the multiple objectives he set out? He has set out revenue, he has set out onshoring, he has set out non-political, he has set out reciprocity in a fair trading system. What you end up with is option 3 for Anne-Marie, the hybrid approach, where you have a universal tariff across the board. Then you have surcharges according to sector, according to country, that are subject to multiple rounds of negotiation. Not one round, multiple rounds.
Basically, that means we're in a lot of uncertainty for a long period of time, which can definitely make things just a little bit worse out there. But hey, that's what we're up to, I guess, right now.
If that happens, then the notion that the inflationary effects are transitory would be really good news, because we have a recent history of inflation, and people will not dismiss it as quickly as the Fed seems confident that they will.
If we want to see potentially this Reagan-Thatcher constructive approach, what do you want to hear from the president today?
So
actually, this is pretty interesting, because we do have about 15 minutes, 17 minutes before it starts. So if you guys are sticking around for the presidential announcement on this, this guy is an expert. You may disagree or whatever, but listen to this next part very clearly.
It needs to be as far away from a spaghetti bowl as possible. Spaghetti bowls are really hard to unwind. That is why protectionism is so dangerous, is because it's so tempting to use a country-specific, sector-specific, and next thing you know, you cannot figure out where the distortions are in the economy. So if it is the Reagan-Thatcher moment, you need clarity on an across-the-board universal tariff. You need clarity on what's going to come on deregulation, because we haven't heard much on that as yet. You need clarity on what this public sector reform, are we remaking it or are we breaking it? That's a fundamental question about the public sector reform that we're seeing right now. You just need clarity. And that's why I put it 50.
Clarity, they're breaking it. Trump is not trying to like be nice with the public sector right now as far as the government and stuff like that. He's trying to break it. The private sector, he's praising it. But the public sector, he's going to try to chop that head off.
50-50. I was recently in a meeting with people I respect, and I forced them into these corner solutions. I said, here's option A, Reagan, Thatcher. Here's option B, Jimmy Carter. Give me probabilities. These are smart people. The range went from 80-20 to 20-80. That is the extent of uncertainty about the destination.
But you likely won't get clarity today if Trump wants to have negotiations and do deals. So what's your base case?
So my base case is exactly what you said, is that we're going to get option 3.
Hybrid.
Hybrid. But I must say, and I laughed when John said, people said, I don't know. I put up something on social media today saying, every time I've been asked on this question, I've responded, I don't know. It doesn't stop people from asking me. So if you really put a gun to my head, I say, if the objective of the administration is to meet all these things with tariffs, then this is what you would get. That's the logic of the case. It's not a prediction, because I don't think anybody knows what's coming other than a very close circle around the president.
There you go, right? So, again, not too crazy either way. I do love how they talk about this stuff over at Bloomberg, though. But we got about 14 minutes and 11 seconds left. We'll hear from Donald Trump, and we'll kind of see how the markets react. So far, Bitcoin is up around $1,300, or around 1.5%. It's doing great. The Dow Jones is up 0.64%. The Nasdaq is up around 0.4%, and the SPY is up around 0.74%. So, and the Russell 2000 is up around 1.44%. So across the board here, the market is actually looking okay or good. I'm kind of happy with that. Altcoins are more mixed, I would say, right now, of course, but it is what it is here. Let me see. Yeah, I mean, look at all that red with the altcoins. There's a little bit of green in here. Like EOS is still going up a little bit higher, of course. But AMP is down, APE is down, Arbitrum is down, AXS, BNB, you know, most stuff is down right now. But let me go back over here very fast. I do want to have more clarity as far as what the president is trying to do. I want to go back over here to CNBC. I just want to see if there's any more breaking news about this. Trump tariff ambiguity leaves gadget makers in limbo. I'm going to run out of appliances. Buy your appliances now. That's the only thing you can do if you're in limbo like that. Scott Bisson attends the Senate Republican lunch. So the senators are being briefed on what's happening right now, it looks like. That was 36 minutes ago. 50 minutes ago, Gottheimer's Americans want less chaos in their lives. See, this is the thing I never understand. When Democrats say, like, chaos in their lives and all the chaos, like, if you don't look at the news and you just go outside and you kind of go about your day-to-day life, you're not really feeling chaos, right? I think maybe if you live in D.C., maybe you're surrounded by chaos because of all the lobbyists and all the reporting and all that type of stuff out there. But when I go out of my house, politics is not some crazy thing that I'm thinking about 24/7. I'm thinking about maybe local politics and what locally they're doing here, which is a lot. There's a lot of craziness going on in Washington State right now in the political realm. But, you know, out here, I live next to the woods. I have a beautiful view of some trees out back. It's a nice sunshiny day. I got cherry blossoms on my property, and they're like just freaking gorgeous right now. So, you know, I go outside, I'm like, damn, it's a pretty nice day. If you're kind of like diving into this stuff like we do, you're going to feel like, oh my God, it's always impacting me. It's always, but in reality, it's really not. And again, this is somebody from like Washington State, which is about as far away from DC as you can get at this point, besides maybe Hawaii and stuff. But yeah, I mean, I don't really mind this stuff just yet. The way I mind this is not necessarily like my day-to-day life. It's more about, you know, how the market is going to react to this, what happens with Jerome Powell, and all that type of goody-goody stuff right there. And hey, Patrick, obviously no one really knows what will happen, but in your opinion, based on the previous trends, do you see a dip from this? And if so, what number to watch for Bitcoin? Right now, I don't see a massive dip from this unless we see some really crazy, like, bad news. But the dip would probably just take us right back over here to $81,500, and then after that, we'd probably take one more dip down here towards $79,000 before trying to break out later on this, this month. And the main reason for that is these moving averages, like we've talked about before. There's just going to be so much more volatility around it, and we could have a perfectly good day finishing off. But as soon as we have bad news, like we had bad news here with Trump, this was the day he put on the auto tariffs. You can see how after even a nice breakout, we can still get smashed back down. We're right now in the middle of a day. We've had a pretty good day here. We can still get smashed back down below that 20 here, back down towards 82.5, all the way down here to 81.5. But that depends on how bad these tariffs are going to be perceived by the overall market. Because when he does this announcement at 1 o'clock, which is about 11 minutes from now, the stock market is going to be closed, but cryptocurrency is going to be going strong. Only thing you're going to be able to see with the stock market is the after hours trading, which is not going to be as liquid, right? So things maybe get a little bit jumpy there. I bet you're going to see a lot of people tonight doing some options trading to like guesstimate which way things are going to be going. It's going to be a big gamble for all those people out there. On the other side of that, you could see Bitcoin probably go back up here towards 88,500 here, maybe even as high as like $89,000 perhaps, if we have some really good news coming out of this tariffs. But I just don't know, because when Trump talks here in a few minutes, it's just going to be a whole different type of ball game, for this. So I'm just going to give it some time and see what happens. Most people probably should not be trading unless they're taking a gamble. Like right now, what you're going to see most people doing is saying, hey, I'm going to have a like $100 long with 10x leverage here. Then I'm going to have a $100 long short, and I'm going to have a stop loss here and a stop loss here based for those two type of situations. And then if the market tanks, it tanks. If it goes up, it goes up. But I'll be able to take the money off of either one of those minus the losses from the other one's stop loss. That seems like a little bit too much work for this. I'd rather just wait it out. I already have longs open right now, so I've just been dealing with that, to be frank. My second longs kind of got stopped out here a while ago. So I bought Bitcoin over here, and I bought some Bitcoin over here. The Bitcoin I bought over here is supposed to be held. This is like Thursday, February 27th. That Bitcoin is supposed to be held for like a couple months. So basically I got a month and a half of holding that left. The Bitcoin I bought over here, that one I traded up. It hit like an order block that was up here, and I got stopped at back over here. So I walked away with a small profit. It was a profit. I was happy with it. I think it was like what? By the time it stopped out, around like 6%. So probably more realistically around like 5.5%. I was happy with that. It was a leverage position, but still, I was happy with it. Right now, you know, we're hitting an order block. We're getting rejected by it. We talked about this actually last night. Hit the order block. If you guys are going to scale out or sell, you're going to scale out, sell right there. Now the people that are holding in anticipation of what happens in around 8 minutes or so. That's the really big move here. What is Donald Trump going to say? How crazy is it going to be? Should you guys be, you know, investing in, you know, while he's doing it? Most people probably should not be investing when he does this, right? But some people want to take that chance, and I completely understand it. I already have my longs open right now, so we'll have to wait and give it a little bit, get a little bit of time here. Let me just see if there's any more news in the last few minutes, because I'm not going to check this again. 42 minutes ago, nothing crazy here. Let's go over here. CNBC. Okay, Doge. Okay. Stocks rise on Wednesday ahead of the Trump tariff announcement. Live updates. See, so they have multiple things going on here with this live tariff things. But here you go. Altria shares tumble after Supreme Court upholds ban on flavored vaping products. Oh, interesting. I don't vape, but yeah, ban on flavored vaping products. Interesting. Near-term freeze in corporate spending and hiring is here in Q2, Larry Jedelo says. Okay, that's fine. We're kind of slowing down over the economy. Trump media shares tumble more than 6% after the company disclosed its securities filing potential significant stock sales from insider shareholders such as President Trump's trust. Interesting, okay. So it's at $18 today. It's down to about $1.37. It peaked back over here in November at $51. Yeah, okay. He's not selling at the tops, which is kind of good for his trust, you know, to say like he's not doing anything illegal, but still. Oh, Consumer Discretionary Select Sector Fund. That one's been doing pretty well. Year to date. Oh, never mind. Like everything else has been going down. I was in the last 5 days. 5 years. It's still been going up bit by bit. Probably must have a good not dental dividends. Jesus, there you go. All right, but guys, we got about 5.5 minutes left. We in Europe are ready to boycott the U.S. goods. I think that what a lot of people are going to be doing that here, just boycotting U.S. goods. We're going to be boycotting a lot of the goods coming from the world, but I don't think we're going to boycott Chinese goods. I think it's just going to be certain things. But I mean, again, it really just depends on how everybody reacts to this. Some people are like, damn, you know, they have been ripping us off. And to a certain degree, there are countries that have been ripping us off because we wanted to help them. But this new world order that Trump is going to try to impose, it is going to be a rocky boat. It's not going to all happen and be really nice and easy. This is some work, and he may even lose the House next year because of it when it comes to the midterm elections. And hey, Aaron, not really with the Pi mining app. I haven't really done much stuff with it. Apparently now you can move your Pi over and sell it, which is interesting. I haven't done any of that type of stuff. I talked about it back, I think, yeah, a few years ago. But, I mean, after that, I mean, I really just didn't mine anything. I didn't care about it. I know some of you guys still mine. I checked it out the other day. You can move your tokens out and sell a portion of them. I haven't done any of it yet. I'm just kind of waiting to see what happens. I think I'm just going to give it a few years and see where it goes. But for now, you know, it's not really like a lot. Like, I probably think about it once every month at this point when somebody asks me a question about it. Not really much else besides that. But I mean, if you have some and you just want some extra like change to go do some stuff, you could sell it. I don't know what the price is right now, but you could easily just sell it, take some money and run. I don't think there's anything wrong with that. News doom, people, what doom is 1999 again? If we had a .com bubble type of effect, I'd be buying so many assets, but Bitcoin would be crashing just like everything else, unfortunately. So I don't want to see Bitcoin fall down too much here. We got about 3 minutes before this goes live. Let me just go double check to see if there's anything else happening on CNBC. Bloomberg costs to look at it, so I'm not looking at Bloomberg. Advertisers look for flexibility as uncertainty around tariff swirls. Dividend stocks can hedge against volatility. These are loved by Wall Street. That's just paid stuff. Let's see. Amazon launched first batch of Cooper satellites. Cooper? I can't pronounce that. Let's see. 60% of credit card users carry debt and pay over 20% interest. Damn. Credit cards are the #1 source of unsecured borrowing, even though interest rates are above more than 20% is fucking wild. Wild. Oh, yeah. Got a lot more debt on us now. That's a lot more debt. This is back in COVID, guys. Oh, geez. All that money spending went crazy with this. 4-hour chart. Bitcoin still holding up against that level of resistance. We got a few minutes left, and we see Bitcoin pumping up right now, actually. There we go. Damn, Bitcoin just getting bought the fuck up right now. Damn. All right, let's go to the 1-minute chart. You guys can see Bitcoin getting pumped. Not bad. Now, I got this playing, so whenever the audio starts playing, like, you guys will hear it at the same time, and I'll hop over here, I'll make it full screen, and we should be good to go. Let me also actually go over here to pop this over here. Let's see. Here's another one from NBC News. This is just in case one of them tries to like move around too much. Like I like when they just show Trump speaking. Sometimes CNBC will go over Trump, then it'll cut over to like what the stock market's doing, even though the stock market's closed. But this will be the backup one for us. Backup. But they're both now. It says waiting, so it's already 1 o'clock basically on this one. This one still has 52 seconds. Once it goes live, we will know. You guys will hear stuff in the background. But as of now, Bitcoin is pumping up a little bit. Not a lot, but we just went from like, we just pumped up like $635 in about like 2 minutes. So not bad right there. Still seeing some moves here. But I do want to get more information as soon as we get going here. Nobody's live. Of course the White House isn't starting on time. Of course. Well, my computer still says 12:59. Let me put a poll up here. I'm starting a poll. Oh, here we go. That's NBC. CNBC hasn't started yet, so there we go. Do you think the market will go up or down after the tariff announcement? And let's say up on top, down on the bottom. There you go. Please feel free to answer the poll. I appreciate it a lot if you guys do. Please make sure to comment and subscribe as always, and like the video. YouTube always loves that. I love watching these guys up on top just walking around though, like the security. They're like, hey, what's going on over there? What's going on over there? They get to have a nice view of what's going on at the monument. Pretty cool. Security out here posted out front. It's nice and chill. But I can keep this playing, I guess, for now. CNBC hasn't started, so they're probably just waiting a little bit, but at least the stream is live here. So when they do actually start making the announcements and start talking, we should be good. I just have to be off the computer like around 1:45, 1:50, so I hope they hurry up so we can see what's going on there. How's the rest of the market looking right now? Let me refresh this. Altcoins looking a little bit better. More mixed here, more mixed, but I'll take a little bit more green that we're seeing right now. EOS up 20%, 21%. That's what you want to see right there. Oh, all that momentum that Bitcoin just had. Somebody just took a big bet right there. Let's see if it pays off for them. Again, this is where we get to see the poll. And again, oh, it doesn't tell me the percentages. Why not? Okay, well, If you guys haven't voted yet, vote on the poll. The question is, do you think the market will go up or down after the tariff announcement? We're looking at down is the majority right now, up is the minority here. And here's the 15-minute chart going back up here. And I probably do want to pull up X. Just in Newsmax, it says down 78% after surging to 240 yesterday. Are stocks officially more volatile than crypto? Yeah. I mean, this was a huge meme stock at this point here. I don't know if you guys played around with Newsmax. Newsmax went absolutely berserk. Absolutely berserk. Let's see. BitBoy. Oh, poor BitBoy. Poor BitBoy. Poor BitBoy. Ashton cigars. Love those Ashton cigars. The first trailer of South Park Season 27 has been released. Interesting. Jesus, Trump, what the heck is he doing? Going forward, not an option. Oh my God. Oh, I thought the car got hit by another car or something like that. Still nothing. Still nothing. All right. Let's go over here and go over here. Tariffs. Both Mexico and Canada have caved to tariffs. Let's see. Latest. What do you call it? Everybody's about to go crazy for this. A lot of back and forth on X, though. A lot of back and forth on X, as is normal. As is normal, I should say. God, the outfit just hilarious every single time. Oh, here we go. So here's Fox News. Oh, they got music playing, so I can't show it here. But here's the first part. So, I mean, he's going up. So we still got a minute left. You got workers. Oh my God, you got firefighters. You got some manufacturing motherfuckers in there. Okay, they got the blue collars in the house. Taking photos with everybody. Congressmen sing. You know what? Congressmen probably got workers in their states to come along and says, "Hey man, you want a free trip to DC? Talk to the president about what you kind of view here." So it is humming and hawing right now, which is nice to see. Let's make sure that's fine. Make sure that's fine. Okay, still there. Let's chill out and watch the Fox one. You know what I mean? Looks like unions and things like that. Some people wearing Make America Great hats. There's JD Vance, the right-hand side of the screen. I feel like a CNN commentator or something. Everybody really happy, exciting, talking to JD. Security's over there looking a little bit serious. Maybe that's just a military dude. Everybody wants to take a picture with JD. I mean, can't blame him. Whenever you see people like that, it's nice to take a photo. Let me see. I'm getting tweets already. Oh, nope. That's something important right there. Look at all those freaking flags. My God. Oh, those are all the state flags, I think, because I see Washington State's flag over there. The green one way over here on the left. Way over there. Military walking around. Where's Trump at? Where be the Trumper? Hold on a second. It's quiet. I can't hear anything. You guys can hear something, but I can't hear anything. Interesting. Well, they're still moving people in here. They're still getting seated. Let's back up a little bit. How's Bitcoin doing? 5-minute chart. Overall, we're still holding up pretty well. We've had a little bit of a pump. Somebody took a big bet right there. That's basically what you saw. A whale came in there and bought some. Not good there. Still not good there. Man, Fox. Oh, this is CSB. Sorry, this isn't Fox. It just has the same colors as Fox. But yeah, there they are. Anything else? No. Nope. I'm staying here. This is where I want to be. This is where I want to be for now. There we go. Okay. Oh, hold on. Blasting that music.
Good afternoon. We're coming on the.
Oh my God. See, they just interrupted. Like, what the fuck? Like, this is what I'm talking about. Okay, so let's back up here. I need to go back to CNBC because I just got out of CNBC because I was like, oh wait, these guys are on. And over here, live. There we go. NBC fucking off. They're blasting that music. They're blasting it. And I'm gonna turn the audio up as well.
The President of the United States.
God, we got some merry tunes. Only one's not happy are the reporters. They're about to trash him afterwards, I guarantee it. All right, here he is. Let's hear the speech. Every few minutes during his speech, well, I'm not going to turn off the volume, but I will go over here and see what Bitcoin's doing, okay?
Thank you very much. Thank you. Nice crowd. What a good-looking group of people. Well, we have some very, very good news today, and a lot of good things are happening for our country. Please sit down. My fellow Americans, this is Liberation Day, waiting for a long time. April 2nd, 2025 will forever be remembered as the day American industry was reborn, the day America's destiny was reclaimed, and the day that we began to make America wealthy again. Going to make it wealthy, good and wealthy. For decades, our country has been looted, pillaged, raped, and plundered by nations near and far, both friend and foe alike. American steelworkers, auto workers, farmers, and skilled craftsmen, we have a lot of them here with us today. They really suffered gravely. They watched in anguish as foreign leaders have stolen our jobs, foreign cheaters have ransacked our factories, and foreign scavengers have torn apart our once beautiful American dream. We had an American dream that you don't hear so much about. You did 4 years ago, and you are now, but you don't too often, and for many years and decades even, you didn't hear too much about. Our country and its taxpayers have been ripped off for more than 50 years, but it is not going to happen anymore. It's not going to happen. In a few moments, I will sign a historic executive order instituting reciprocal tariffs on countries throughout the world. Reciprocal, that means they do it to us and we do it to them. Very simple. Can't get any simpler than that. This is one of the most important days, in my opinion, in American history. It's our declaration of economic independence. For years, hardworking American citizens were forced to sit on the sidelines as other nations got rich and powerful, much of it at our expense. But now it's our turn to prosper, and in so doing, use trillions and trillions of dollars to reduce our taxes and pay down our national debt, and it'll all happen very quickly.
He wants to do both.
With today's action, we are finally going to be able to make America great again, greater than ever before. Jobs and factories will come roaring back into our country, and you see it happening already. We will supercharge our domestic industrial base. We will pry open foreign markets and break down foreign trade barriers. And ultimately, more production at home will mean stronger competition and lower prices for consumers. This will be indeed the golden age of America. It's coming back. We're going to come back very strongly. We're pleased to be joined on this momentous occasion by Vice President J.D. Vance. J.D., thank you. Thank you. Thank you very much. Where are you, J.D.? No, that wasn't too hard to find. I was looking, you know, he likes to take a low-key attitude, so usually we sit right in front. He's gaining a lot of confidence, Mike, isn't he? And nearly my entire cabinet is here, as well as Speaker Mike Johnson, who's done an amazing job. And with the great success we had last night in Florida, we have a majority of 7. And 7's like a lot when we had it at 1, right? You've done a fantastic job. And many of the members of the House and Senate are with us. Senators, congressmen, thank you all for being with us. We appreciate it. For decades, the United States slashed our trade barriers on other countries, while those nations placed massive tariffs on our products and created outrageous non-monetary barriers to decimate our industries. And in many cases, the non-monetary barriers were worse than the monetary ones. They manipulated their currencies, subsidized their exports, stole our intellectual property, imposed exorbitant VAT taxes to disadvantage our products, adopted unfair rules and technical standards, and created filthy pollution havens. They were absolutely filthy, but they always came to us and they said, we're violating, we should pay for it. It's all detailed in a very big report by the U.S. Trade Representative on foreign trade barriers, and I'll just hold it up for you. It's available, and you don't have to pay too much. As I understand it, you'll pay nothing. It's a lot of work for something, actually, because it's a special book. It's very, frankly, it's very upsetting when you read it, when you see what people have been doing to us for 30 years. This all happened with no response from the United States of America, none whatsoever. But those days are over. Let me offer just a few examples of the vicious attacks our workers have faced for so many years. The United States charges other countries only a 2.4 tariff on motorcycles. Meanwhile, Thailand and others are charging much higher prices, like 60%. India charges 70%. Vietnam charges 75%, and others are even higher than that. Likewise, until today, the United States has for decades charged a 2.5 tariff. Think of that, 2.5% on foreign-made automobiles. The European Union charges us more than 10% tariffs, and they have 20% VATs, much, much higher. India charges 70%, and perhaps worst of all are the non-monetary restrictions imposed by South Korea, Japan, and very many other nations. As a result of these colossal trade barriers, 81% of the cars in South Korea are made in South Korea. 94% of the cars in Japan are made in Japan. Toyota sells 1 million foreign-made automobiles into the United States, and General Motors sells almost none. Ford sells very little. None of our companies.
So he's going after everybody.
Countries. And I say that, friend and foe. And in many cases, the friend is worse than the foe in terms of trade.
Well, shit, there you go.
Such horrendous imbalances have devastated our
This is the 1 minute chart.
And put our national security at risk. I don't blame these other countries at all for this calamity. I blame former presidents and past leaders who weren't doing their job. They let it happen, and they let it happen to an extent that nobody can even believe. That's why, effective at midnight, we will impose a 25% tariff on all foreign-made automobiles. Thank you.
I told you about that volatility,
Brian,
moving
I'd love
averages.
to have you come up here for a second, okay? I just see him sitting. He's been a fan of ours, and he understands this business a lot better than the economists, a lot better than anybody. Brian, say a few words, please, would you? Thank you, Mr. Thank you. It's a great honor to have you. Thanks.
Thank you, Mr. President. I grew up just north of Detroit, Michigan, in Macomb County, known as the home of the Reagan Democrats. My first vote for president was for Ronald Reagan. I thought that was going to be the best president I ever saw in my lifetime until Donald J. Trump came along.
Trump was like, yeah.
I have watched my entire life, I have watched plant after plant after plant in Detroit and in the metro Detroit area close. There are now plants sitting idle. There are now plants that are underutilized, and Donald Trump's policies are going to bring product back into those underutilized plants. There's going to be new investment. There's going to be new plants built. And the UAW members, and I brought 20 of them with me, they're sitting right over here. We support Donald Trump's policies on tariffs 100%. So, Mr. President, we can't thank you enough. And in 6 months or a year, we're going to begin to see the benefits. I can't wait to see what's happening 3 or 4 years down the road. Thank you, Mr. President.
What a great guy. He got it right from the beginning. He got it before almost anybody else. This group over there, they
5-second pause. Bitcoin is fucking humming right now. I mean humming. Let's go to the daily chart. Again, breaking above moving averages. We talked about that first level of support. If you guys bought, this is your first scale up moment. If you guys still want to hold on a little bit longer, go for it. I told you guys I have my own plan I'm holding for a few more weeks from now. But first scale up point. Don't fuck it up if you guys don't have any money.
He got it too. And, you know, we won the state of Michigan. We won almost all of them. But we won Michigan by a lot, and I want to just thank you all. The auto workers were fantastic. The Teamsters were fantastic. Everyone was pretty good, I will tell you. Thank you very much. I appreciate it. You're going to be very happy very soon, and you probably see what's happening with all of the, not only car companies, but car companies in particular. You see it with all of the ones they're moving, they're announcing day in, day out. You're seeing it. Nobody's ever seen anything like that. With today's actions, we're also standing up for our great farmers and ranchers who are brutalized by nations all over the world. Brutalized. Canada, by the way, imposes a 250 to 300% tariff on many of our dairy products. They do the first can of milk. They do the first little carton of milk at a very low price, but after that it gets bad, and then it gets up to 275, 300%. So when they're figuring what's Canada charging, they say, oh, about 2%, 3%. But take a look at what happens down the road. When you look a little bit, it's not a pretty picture, and we don't like it, and it's not fair. It's not fair to our farmers. It's not fair to our country. And with countries like Canada, you know, we subsidize a lot of countries and keep them going and keep them in business. In the case of Mexico, it's $300 billion a year. In the case of Canada, it's close to $200 billion a year. And I say, why are we doing this? Why are we doing this? I mean, at what point do we say you got to work for yourselves, and you got to? This is why we have the big deficits. This is why we have that amount of debt that's been placed on our heads over the last number of years, and we're really not taking it anymore. Through non-tariff barriers, the European Union bans imports of most American poultry. You understand? They say, we want to send you our cars, we want to send you everything, but we're not going to take anything that you have. Australia bans, and they're wonderful people and wonderful everything, but they ban American beef, yet we imported $3 billion of Australian beef from them just last year alone. They won't take any of our beef. They don't want it because they don't want it to affect their farmers. And you know what? I don't blame them, but we're doing the same thing right now, starting about midnight tonight, I would say. And China charges American rice farmers an overquota, it's called, a tariff rate of 65%. South Korea charges 50%. Actually, they charge different, from 50% to 513%. And Japan, our friend, charges us 700%. But that's because they don't want us selling rice and other things. Who can blame them, Madam Secretary? Agriculture, great job you did on eggs, by the way. The egg prices came down 50%. You got them down 50%. Once we got involved, they were going through the sky. The egg prices, they were going through the sky, and you did a fantastic job. Now we have lots of eggs, and they're much cheaper, down about 59% now, and they're going down further. We charge 2.8% for so many things that other countries are charging 200%, 300%, and 400% for. If imposing tariffs and protective barriers made nations poor, then every country on earth would be racing to eliminate these policies, and China would be the first on line. They run a very strong country, but they're not first in line, and the American people are paying a very big price. From 1789 to 1913, we were a tariff-backed nation, and the United States was proportionately the wealthiest it has ever been. So wealthy, in fact, that in the 1880s, they established a commission to decide what they were going to do with the vast sums of money they were collecting. We were collecting so much money so fast we didn't know what to do with it. Isn't that a nice problem to have?
I'm
What do you
checking out
think,
Twitter.
Marco? Good problem? Marco would love that problem. But we don't have that problem anymore, but we're not going to have it very much longer, I will tell you. But they collected so much money, they actually formed a commission to determine what they were going to do with the money, who they were going to give it to, and how much. Then in 1913, for reasons unknown to mankind, they established the income tax so that citizens, rather than foreign countries, would start paying the money necessary to run our government. Then in 1929, it all came to a very abrupt end with the Great Depression, and it would have never happened if they had stayed with the tariff policy. It would have been a much different story. They tried to bring back tariffs to save our country, but it was gone. It was gone. It was too late. Nothing could have been done. It took years and years to get out of that depression, far longer than even FDR had that office right over there for a long period of time. The ramp system, that's rather intricate, was built because of him, and every time you walk up, you think of him, and he did a great job in many ways, but it lasted long beyond his terms, as you know. But it's not too late any longer, and we're going to start being smart, and we're going to start being very wealthy again. We're going to be wealthy as a country because they've taken so much of our wealth away from us. We're not going to let that happen. We truly can be very wealthy. We can be so much wealthier than any country. It's not even believable, but we're getting smart. Nearly a century later, in the face of unrelenting economic warfare, the United States can no longer continue with a policy of unilateral economic surrender. We cannot pay the deficits of Canada, Mexico, and so many other countries. We used to do it. We can't do it anymore. We take care of countries all over the world. We pay for their military. We pay for everything they have to pay, and then when you want to cut back a little bit, they get upset that you're not taking care of them any longer. But we have to take care of our people, and we're going to take care of our people first, and I'm sorry to say that. And today we're standing up for the American worker, and we are finally putting America first. In Sleepy Joe Biden's last year in office, the United States hemorrhaged 100,000 manufacturing jobs, and the number was going through the roof at levels never seen before. And our trade deficit reached a record $1.2 trillion, which is unheard of. Since the beginning of NAFTA, the worst trade deal ever made, it was a horror show. I was able to determine it. They all said you'd never be able to get it out. We had to get approval from Congress to get it terminated. We had to live with that deal. It was the worst trade deal ever made by far. But since the very beginning of NAFTA, our country lost 90,000 factories. Think of what that is, 90,000. Think about putting a map up and putting tax on it. You wouldn't have enough room. 90,000. I said, is that possible? We had it checked 4 different times, and it was actually somewhat higher than that. And 5 million manufacturing jobs were lost while racking up trade deficits of $19 trillion. That was the worst trade deal ever made. As a result of these gigantic losses, foreign nations now own $26 trillion more of American assets than think of this, than the Americans own of their own foreign assets or other foreign assets. The United States can no longer produce enough antibiotics to treat our sick. We have a tremendous problem. We have to go to foreign countries to treat our sick. If anything ever happened from a war standpoint, we wouldn't be able to do it. We import virtually all of our computers, phones, televisions, and electronics. We used to dominate the field, and now we import it all from different countries. A single shipyard in China now produces more ships every year than all of the American shipyards combined. Think of that. And it was a business that we used to dominate. We used to dominate it totally. In short, chronic trade deficits are no longer merely an economic problem. They're a national emergency that threatens our security and our very way of life. It's a very great threat to our country. And for these reasons, starting tomorrow, the United States will implement reciprocal tariffs on other nations. It's been a long time since we even thought of that. We used to think about it a lot. We didn't think about it for many decades, and you see what's happened. For nations that treat us badly, we will calculate the combined rate of all their tariffs, non-monetary barriers, and other forms of cheating. And because we are being very kind, we're kind people, very kind. You're not so kind when you got ripped off with your salaries. My auto worker friends and my Teamster friends and all of the unions that typically vote Democrat, they're not voting Democrat anymore because worker, whether union or non-worker, they're for the Republicans now. That's what happened. But we will charge them approximately half of what they are and have been charging us. So the tariffs will be not a full reciprocal. I could have done that, yes, but it would have been tough for a lot of countries. We didn't want to do that. I'd like to see the chart if you have it. Could you bring it up, Howard? This is our great Secretary of Commerce, Howard Lutnick. Thanks, Howard. So if you look at that, China, first row, China, 67%. That's tariffs charged to the USA, including currency manipulation and trade barriers. So 67%, I think you can, for the most part, see it. Those with good eyes, with bad eyes. We didn't want to bring, it's very windy out here. We didn't want to bring out the big charts because it had no chance of standing. Fortunately, we came armed with a little smaller chart. So it's 67%, so we're going to be charging a discounted reciprocal tariff of 34%. I think, in other words, they charge us, we charge them less. So how can anybody be upset? They will be because we never charge anybody anything, but now we're going to charge. European Union, they're very tough, very, very tough traders. You know, you think of European Union, very friendly. They rip us off. It's so sad to see. It's so pathetic. 39%, we're going to charge them 20%, so we're charging them essentially half. Vietnam, great negotiators, great people. They like me, I like them. The problem is they charge us 90%. We're going to charge them 46% tariff. Taiwan, where they took all of our computer chips and semiconductors. We used to be the king, right? We were everything. We had all of it. Now we have almost none of it, except the biggest company is coming in. We're going to end up with almost 40%. Lee Zeldin's working to get their approvals. And it's an amazing company. Mr. Wei, of one of the great companies of the world, actually. They're coming in from Taiwan, and they're going to build one of the biggest plants in the world, maybe the biggest for that. But 64%, we're going to charge them 32%. Japan, very, very tough, great people.
This is some of the certainty we were looking for, so I'm curious to see what this means for tomorrow.
And again, I don't blame the people for doing it. I think they're very smart in doing it. I blame the people that sat right in that Oval Office, right over there, right behind the Resolute desk or whichever desk they chose. Japan, 46%. They would charge us 46%, and much higher for certain items like cars, you know, little items like cars. 46%, we're charging them 24%. India, very, very tough, very, very tough. The Prime Minister just left, and he's a great friend of mine, but I said, you're a friend of mine, but you're not treating us right. They charge us 52%. You have to understand, we charge them almost nothing for years and years and decades, and it was only 7 years ago when I came in, we started with China and charged them. We took in hundreds of billions of dollars from China in tariffs, and they understood, honestly. President Xi understood. He said, look, I understand, and the other countries, and they all understand. We're going to have to go through a little tough love, maybe, but they all understand. They're ripping us off, and they understood it. Prime Minister of Japan, Shinzo Abe. He was a fantastic man. He was unfortunately taken from us, assassination. But I went to him and I said, Shinzo, we have to do something. A trade is not fair. And he said, I know that. I know that. And he was a great gentleman. He was a fantastic man. But he understood immediately what I was talking about. I said, Shinzo, we have to do something. He said, I know that. And we worked out a deal, and it would have been a much better deal, but frankly, there were many years left on the deal that was made previous to my getting there, but it was something. If you look at Switzerland, 61% to 31%. Indonesia, Malaysia, Cambodia. Oh, look at Cambodia, 97%. We're going to bring it down to 49. They made a fortune with the United States of America. United Kingdom, 10%, and we'll go 10%. So we'll do the same thing. South Africa, 60%, 30%, and they've got some bad things going on in South Africa. You know, we're paying them billions of dollars, and we cut the funding because a lot of bad things are happening in South Africa. The fake news ought to be looking at it. They don't want to report it. Damn. Brazil, 10%, 10%. Bangladesh is 74%. So you see what's going on. Pakistan, 58%.
Bitcoin is all over the freaking place right now. All over the place.
Sri Lanka, 88%. So what we're doing is we're taking not the full, we could take the full 88%. Thanks a lot, Howard. He's doing a very good job. How's he doing, all right? I think you better take it with you. It's not going to last very long. He's going to put it, it's going to follow you down with the wind. I brought a hat just in case it got too windy, but here, would anybody like a hat? I'm not giving it to a cabinet. I'm giving it to the auto workers. Come here. Thank you, fellas. Get it. That's it. That's it. They deserve it more than our cabinet. Our cabinet has plenty of hats. But you see the numbers. The numbers are so disproportionate. They're so unfair. At the same time, we will establish a minimum baseline tariff of 10%. You notice that on the chart. And that'll be on other countries to help rebuild our economy and to prevent cheating. So we're going to have a minimum of cheating, and we're going to be very severe on the people that at the gate that watch the tariffs and watch the product coming in, because there's been a lot of bad things happening at the gate because the money is so enormous that you're talking about. There's never been probably anything like it in terms of the enormity, and there are a lot of bad things happen at the people that do the check-in, and they're looking at 10-year jail sentences if they do play. We're going to treat them so good, but if they cheat, the repercussions are going to be extremely strong. Foreign nations will finally be asked to pay for the privilege of access to our market, the biggest market in the world. We're right now the biggest market in the world. We had a great country 4 years ago in terms of the economics. We were doubling up on China. We were doing so well. Nobody was going to catch us, but so much of it slipped away over the last 4 years under Biden. I campaigned on this policy throughout last year, and today that promise was made, and it was also a promise, as you know, that was kept. Promises made, promises kept. To any company that objects to our common sense reciprocal tariffs, again, reciprocal, back and forth, back and forth. And I call this kind reciprocal. This is not full reciprocal. This is kind reciprocal. But what we do is we cut it in half. We charge them. My answer is very simple if they complain. If you want your tariff rate to be zero, then you build your product right here in America, because there is no tariff if you build your plant, your product in America. And we've seen companies coming in like we've never seen before. Likewise to all of the foreign presidents, prime ministers, kings, queens, ambassadors, and everyone else who will soon be calling to ask for exemptions from these tariffs. I say, terminate your own tariffs, drop your barriers, don't manipulate your currencies. They manipulate their currencies like nobody can even believe, which is a bad, bad thing and very devastating to us, and start buying tens of billions of dollars of American goods. Tariffs give our country protection against those that would do us economic harm, and many people were looking to do us economic harm. Maybe not so obviously, but they were doing tremendous economic harm. But even more importantly, they will give us growth. These tariffs are going to give us growth like you haven't seen before, and it'll be something very special to watch. I am so looking forward, and Brian, it's going to happen even faster than you said. You know, you might say, but it's already started. It's already started. Work's already begun on plants all around the country, and you see that as before. These are big, rich companies. We have $61 billion started on a big plant going up. It's going to be announced over the next 2 days, and they already started work. Many of these the biggest companies in the world, they've committed to build, build, build. We're going to build, 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 sir. And they came here to see me, and they wanted to know if they could have a press conference. I do as many as I can. I'm pretty busy trying to stop Russia and Ukraine and the Middle East. We got to stop that. We got to stop the Houthis, which we're making tremendous. They like shooting ships down and out of the water, sinking ships. They get a kick out of it, but they're not getting such a kick out of it now, are they, Mr. Secretary? They're not getting such a kick out of that now. But here are just a short list of some of the companies that have already announced and committed to investment. And this is a company that built its factories and its plants in China. Apple is going to spend $500 billion. They never spent money like that here. They're going to build their plants here. SoftBank, OpenAI, and Oracle, great companies, are investing $500 billion almost immediately. NVIDIA, a hot company, is investing hundreds of billions of dollars. They just announced. TSMC, the biggest, most important company in the world of chips from Taiwan, with no investment from us, is investing $200 billion. And they said the reason was, number one, the election of November 5th, and number two, the tariffs. They don't want to pay the tariffs, and the way they're not paying it is to build their plant here. So we're going to go from almost no percentage. We used to have 100% of the chip market. Now it's all in Taiwan. Almost all of it's in Taiwan, a couple of other countries, but mostly in Taiwan. And think of it, we had 100%. We lost it because of people in that office that didn't do their job. They allowed it to be stolen from us. Johnson & Johnson, great company, $55 billion. Eli Lilly, $27 billion. Meta is investing $500 billion. Wow. DeMac is investing $20 billion. CMA, CGM, $20 billion. And then you have Merck and Clarios, Stellantis, General Motors, GE Aerospace, Honda, Nissan, Hyundai are all putting in billions and billions of dollars, and they're committed 100%. So. And we've never had, and this is after 2.5 months. This is after just a short, this all took place as soon as we came out with what everybody wanted to do. You know, I watched a gentleman today on television. He used to work with Lee Iacocca, a very respected automobile person, and he said, you know, because they're asking people, and they try and get as many negative people as they can, but they can't find them too much. It's pretty hard to find in terms of what we're doing, especially when they see all this investment. They said, so tell me, what do you think of what Trump is doing from the automobile standpoint? He said, I can't believe it. Somebody is finally, he's an older guy, real pro, really top guy, with Lee Iacocca. He said, I never thought I'd see the day when this would happen, where somebody had the courage to go and do what has to be done. This is transforming our nation. Our entire nation is going to be transformed, not only with the cars, but on every single other item that's built. We're going to become an industrial powerhouse. And he said that so beautifully today. In fact, I'm going to find out, I'm going to get a tape, and Bruce, I'm going to get that tape, and I'm going to send it to you out in Long Island, and you're going to play it for the people. And all your union workers and your non-union workers out there, you got a pretty even split. But we have, so far, it looks like we're going to have about $6 trillion of investments, and you wouldn't do that in years in this country over the last number of years. $6 trillion, and that's going to be much higher by the end of the year. And think of what $6 trillion is. You wouldn't have even a small percentage of that under this other system. We're going to be an entirely different country, and it's going to be fantastic for the workers. It's going to be fantastic for everyone. There will never have been a transformation of a country like the transformation that's already happening in the United States of America. It's an incredible thing to watch, and it's incredible to meet with the top people, people that you read about, very wealthy people, or people that are great managers and executives and presidents of big public companies, and to watch the enthusiasm they have now that they didn't have. They gave up on our country. They went to foreign countries and they built. Companies are pouring into our country at levels never seen before with jobs and money. to follow, and it's really beautiful. In the coming days, there will be complaints from the globalists and the outsourcers and special interests and the fake news. Always, the fake news will always complain. But
oh, that wasn't me.
all and said we built the respect for they would take, and I for that I say, hey, if you're away with it, that's okay. They understand exactly what's saying, and they probably, most of them are saying it's about time they did something, but and they're going to fight.
Should be
they're
good.
Fight fair. Everyone's going to fight. You know, it's like I say to the leaders, look, you got to take care of your country, but we have to start taking care of our country now. We can't do what we've been doing for the last 50 years. From the day of my election, the stock market went up in my first term 88%, with NASDAQ going up 155%, more than any president has ever had in any term in office, by far. And I think we're going to blow that away. And maybe the numbers won't show, but I think they're going to show much better than even those numbers. But what you're going to see is you're going to see activity, that empty, dead sites, factories that are falling down. Those factories will be knocked down, and they're going to have brand new factories built in their place. They're not only talking about renovating, they're talking about brand new, the best anywhere in the world, the biggest anywhere in the world. I have a friend who builds car plants, and I said, I want to see the biggest and the best. He said, well, we have to go to Mexico. I said, no, I want to see it in the United States. He said, we're not building them in there. This is a year and a half ago during the campaign. He said, we're not building it. You'd have to go to Mexico. When I was starting to decide to run, and I went to number one in the polls very rapidly, I want to say, like let's say in the first hour, and then shortly thereafter, it looked like I was going to win, and the fake news was saying, "Oh no, don't do this." What they don't know is if I didn't win, they would have really been in trouble, because nobody wants to read them anyway. But I tell you what, when it looked like I was going to win, I announced that I was going to be doing exactly what we're talking about today. Great consistency, actually, because I've been talking about it for 40 years, but because I saw what was happening 40 years ago. If you look at my old speeches when I was young, very handsome, my old speeches, and that people would say I'd be on a television show, I'd be talking about how we were being ripped off by these countries. I mean, nothing changes very much. The only thing that changed were the countries, but nothing really changes. But it's why it's such an honor. It's such an honor to be finally able to do this. If you look at China, I took in hundreds of billions of dollars in my term, hundreds of billions. They never paid 10 cents to any other president, and yet they paid hundreds of billions, so much so that Biden couldn't do anything. They wanted to try and terminate it because he had a very special relationship with China. You know what the relationship was? He had a special relationship.
Damn,
but the numbers were so big.
Damn.
The numbers were so big that they couldn't do it. So they did ease it up. They did things that they shouldn't have done. They made it a lot more comfortable for them, but they couldn't do it because the numbers were hundreds of billions of dollars, and I did that. And we were on our way to doing something like incredible. And then we had a very bad election happen, a very bad election. A lot of bad things happened. So when I said we got to do it again, I said we have to make it too big to rig. And we made it too big to rig, and we won in records, and it was a monumental win. And it was such an honor to see so many of you, like Brian and your friends, here with us to celebrate, and to more importantly celebrate what we're doing, because that wouldn't be a full celebration if we didn't do this, because this will be an entirely different country in a short period.
Damn, CNBC's having some issues here. Let's see.
Brooke Rollins, she did a fantastic job.
No. Let's see.
The whole world will be talking about it.
Oh, it's back.
Critics made it great. But likewise, an old-fashioned term that we use, groceries. I used it in the
We're going to use Fox
campaign.
Business.
It's such an old-fashioned term, but a beautiful term, groceries. It sort of says a bag with different things in it. Groceries went through the roof, and I campaigned on that. I talked about the word groceries for a lot, and energy costs now are down. Groceries are down. Gasoline is way under $3, and people are beginning to be able to buy things and live again. We brought prices way down. We created 10,000 already in a few weeks, new manufacturing jobs. And it was that took place in 1 month, numbers that they haven't seen in a long time. We had virtually no inflation under my term. We had virtually no inflation for 4 years. But after transitioning over to Sleepy Joe, it went from almost non-existent to the highest in the history of our country. They're the highest inflation in the history of our country, brought up by energy and bad spending and bad policy, and a lot of bad things happened. How about allowing millions and millions and millions of people to pour into our country with open borders, where it's so sad to see even now, and I see our great secretary of You Have Done. Stand up, please, Christy. Stand up. Christy Noem. And Tom Homan. These people are doing a great job, but gotten them out in records. We have problems with judges that don't want them to go out. They want Tren de Aragua, and they want MS-13, the most vicious gangs ever. Nobody's ever seen anything like it. Absolute killer gangs. They kill people. They don't even think about it. And we put them out, and we have judges now, radical left judges that want to. They don't want them to go out. They want them to even be brought back. Let's bring them back. You've done a fantastic job, and please thank everybody. Homeland Security, thank everybody. Appreciate it. And we now have a border that's the best border that we've ever had, even better than it was my first term. My first term we did good, but this one we really specialized in. We've done really well. And we had records then. We had the best, safest border. 4 years ago, we had the best border there ever was. And now we have, you've actually matched it and done even better. And we're going to get it down the right way. And we want people, by the way, to come into our country, but we want to come in through a legal process. We want them to come in legally. We need more people. We need people to run these plants and to help the auto workers and the Teamsters and the non-union people and everybody else. But we need people and the farmers. And we're going to let people come in, but they want to come in. We want them to come in legally. They have to have the capability of loving our country, not people that hate our country. We don't want them in our country. And now we're going to pass the largest tax cuts in American history, and that's where we're relying on Mike and John Thune. And we will not cut Social Security, Medicare, or Medicaid benefits, and the Democrats will, because if they got in, the entire economy would collapse. This country was heading for a collapse under the people that you saw. They were horrible. I think one of the reasons people like the job, I have my highest approval ratings because I think they're comparing me to the worst administration in the history of our country, so I appreciate that at least. But Speaker of the House Mike Johnson and Senate Majority Leader, appreciate it, Mike, John Thune have been fantastic, by the way. But they've been working tirelessly on taking the next step to pass the plan for our one big, beautiful bill. I'd like to name it that if you can. One big, beautiful. I made that statement about 6 months ago, and everybody calls it one big, beautiful bill. And it will be that. It'll have everything, the big tax cuts and every incentive there is. And it'll be fantastic. And by the way, for the cars, we're asking for an interest deduction on a loan. So if you build the car, only in America we do it, Brian. If the car's not built in America, you don't get the interest rate deduction. But if you build the car in America, if you buy a car, if it's built in America, then you get an interest rate deduction, tax deduction, and that's a big thing. That's going to be a big thing. I think that's going to pay for itself very quickly, that deduction. Never happened. We've never had anything like that before. Somebody said, where do you get the idea? Because it's so basic. You would think that would have happened a long time ago. It never did, and I'm very happy it didn't because now I can say that was my idea. But we're going to get us closer to the debt extension. We have to get the debt extension passed, and I know you're going to be able to do that, Mike, and it's very important that you do that. And all of the other things that the Senate budget plan gives us, along with working, because I know they're working together, John and Mike, and the two bills are going very well together. We need to get our shared priorities done, including certain permanent tax cuts. We want the tax cuts to be permanent, spending cuts, energy and historic investments in defense, border, and so much more. We're covering everything. These will be phenomenal. There'll be no bill like this going to straighten. One bill is going to straighten out our country for many, many years to come. And we said, let's just do it and let's get it done. And some guys will love it and some guys will like it a little bit less because they're not getting what they were exactly looking for, but they're getting a lot. They'll never, if we get this done, it'll be the most incredible bill ever passed in the history of our Congress and Senate and congressmen, the senators and the congressmen, many of whom are here today, will be very proud of themselves. I really believe that it's going to set us on a whole new prosperous path. We're going to cut spending and right-size the budget back to where it should be. We're going to do that very strongly. Thank you, Rick. Thank you. John, thank you. Oh, look at all of our senators over there. Oh, boy. That's a nice group of people. But I won't like them so much if they don't get this bill done. That's a great group. And Congressman, thank you very much. I appreciate it. Tremendous people. The Senate plan is my complete and total support, and the House plan likewise is very similar. They're moving along pretty much at the same clip, and as soon as you're ready, you'll show it to me, and I'm sure it'll have my support, Mike. Every Republican congressman and senator must unify. We have to unify. We can't be separated. We have to get it done. We have to get absolutely everything we can, and we have to take care of the American people. That's the only thing that matters. We have to take care of the American people first. We need to pass this bill immediately, get it done, including debt extension. From this day on, we're not going to let anyone tell us that American workers and families cannot have the future that they deserve. We're going to produce the cars and ships, chips, airplanes, minerals, and medicines that we need right here in America. The pharmaceutical companies are going to become roaring back. They're coming roaring back. They're all coming back to our country because if they don't, they got a big tax to pay. And if they do, I'll be very happy, and you're going to be very happy, and you're going to be very safe. We're going to build our future with American hands, with American heart, American steel, and we're going to build it with American pride like we used to. We're approaching our 100th day as president and have been given credit by a lot of people, actually, even some of the fake news. Can you believe it? Which in this case hopefully isn't fake, for having done more in that time than any other administration in the history of our country in the first 100 days. I think we've had an amazing, in terms of what we've done, what we've gotten accomplished. I'd like to see if we can get that war ended and another war from not starting in the Middle East. We have to get Russia. They're losing 2,000 on average, 2,500 people a day, young people, soldiers, Russian, think of that. 2,500 through some days, but on average, probably over about a 1 week period, it's 2,712, they say. They're losing those soldiers. They're dying. They're being decimated. And they're not from our country, but they're from other countries, but they're human beings. They're from Russia. They're from Ukraine in this period, most of them. And we're going to get it stopped. It's a senseless war that would have never happened if I was president, and it shouldn't be allowed to go on. And I think we're being given good cooperation by Russia and by Ukraine, but we have to get it stopped. It's humanity. It's humanity. It's a terrible thing. This will be a very big moment. I think you're going to remember today. It's going to be a free nation that we're dealing with. We're going to have a very free and
Okay, guys, I pushed it up as long as I could. I have a meeting in like 5 minutes that I have to be on board for. I just put the link in the comment section, so if you guys do want to keep on watching this, feel free to do so. This speech seems to be wrapping up right now anyway, but I want you guys to understand Bitcoin itself is kind of having some funny things going on right now. You can see this right here. Back that up very fast. Bitcoin's been doing a whole bunch of nothing for the most part, but we are down compared to when he started his speech. So just keep that as it is. We are moving back up right now, so it should be going back and forth. Altcoins have been getting hit pretty hard as well, but you can see the same volatility there basically, right? So I'll see you guys a little bit later. Sorry I have to go, but I tried to stretch this as close as I can. But I will see you guys later on tonight. And if I'm up at the tower today, I may actually even have a live stream up there talking about everything I've learned from today, because on X they have all the data kind of coming out slowly. So I'll have a chance to push that into ChatGPT, get all the data I need, and then